breaks across the plains. Hope rekindles in the crimson tide, as freedom's anthem calls our names. Great again, we rise as one, under stars that guide our way. A song of promise has begun, and strength returns in light of day. Of dreams are ripe once more. Factories hum with honest pride. Our banner waves on every shore, with courage marching by our side. Great again, we rise as one, under stars that guide our way. A song of promise has begun, and strength returns in light of day. Through trials dark, we found our steel. The eagle's cry breaks through the night. In unity, our wounds now heal. We chase the dawn with fearless light. Great again, we rise as one, under stars that guide our way. A song of promise has begun, and strength returns in light of day.
Hey guys, how's everybody doing this week? Hope you had a good week. What about you, Jade?
Doing okay. How are you, Rich? Hoping
I'm
everybody
good.
everybody out in internet land is doing well.
Kind of a long week, but with the news, I mean, fire hose again, but
Good
wow.
Lord, it never stops.
I know it doesn't. And I think MAGA is starting. The two camps in MAGA are starting to get back together again, because I saw yesterday that when the Wall Street Journal came out with their hit piece on Trump, Trump has been saying all along, I'm not going to get fully into it, but Trump has been, oh, guys, if you can hit the like button right now, please, I really appreciate it. It would help us a lot. Yeah, Trump all along. Hey, what's up, Pam? What's up, brother? Jimmy, Simon, how you doing? Pack, if you're still here, what's up, brother? So Trump all along was saying, when they said there's no files, I truly believe he meant because they're all freaking compromised. Hey, what's up? Chris, how you doing, bro? Haven't seen you in a while. How you been? And he's putting it out there now. He's saying, "Oh, that's all right. No worries, no worries." Yeah, he's been saying all along. Look, these are the same people that did the Russia hoax. The people in the deep state that they've so screwed up these so-called files. I don't like the way that they said, well, they don't exist. That was really dumb. I'll give you that. That was really freaking stupid. But I think he just told Bondi that she had full authority to release anything that like she thought was credible, to release it. Just release it. Because there's a lot of stuff that's not credible. Like what they did is they said that there was. We may go over it later. They said that they found a birthday card, right, that Trump wrote to Epstein for his 50th birthday, and it wasn't handwritten; it was typed, right? Because Trump always types, right? And he doesn't use computers, right? So it was typed, and it was in wording that he never talks. Look, You could go back 30 years and watch him on TV, on doing the interviews and all that, like when he was on the TV show, and even when he wasn't. He never talks the way this thing was. And the big question is, okay, so you a-holes have had this thing for decades now. And when you had the Biden administration, right? Like when it was the Obama administration, they actually went out and did all the phony dossier stuff, right? For the Russia crap. So they did that, and they had no qualms about breaking the law to do that, right? So now you got Biden in there, and at one point they owned the House and the Senate, the Dems, right? They had full control of these files. Why didn't they release it then? Because look, they threw lawfare at them. What was it, like 92 indictments, 4 big cases, right? Maybe more, I don't know. But it was on state and federal levels, right? They shot him, for God's sake. All they had to do was show anything of Trump in the Epstein files. I don't think many people here would have voted for him if they saw some horrific shit in there, right? Would you?
There are some things are just over the top.
Yeah, and
My
so
favorite-
everybody. The reason I went down this rabbit hole was because the MAGA people, the same people that were like furious with him the week before, they defended him because they're like, "Whoa, that's just we're angry that the way it was handled." And they're not really angry at Trump or even Bondi. They're throwing Bondi under the bus. Yeah, she really mangled it. But what they're mad at is the fact that nobody in D.C. ever goes to prison. No one. They can break as many laws as they want, as long as they got a D next to their name. And a lot of rhinos, they don't go to prison. Nobody does. They break laws. That's the way our system's written. I get it. But, there's some things that you think like, wow, had I done that? I'd be in prison. Like Pelosi when she uses they all do the insider trading information. Actually, it wasn't really, well, it was insider. It was Larry Fink from BlackRock. He was sending them information. And the information was, like, for example, if a CEO of a company just bought 30,000 shares of his own stock, he knows something that's coming out soon, a product or something or a service that's going to go wildfire on the stock. And he would send that kind of info to the House people, to the Dems. And some of the Dems would share it with their rhino friends, right? And that's how they got filthy rich. And Larry Fink would say, okay, so now it's going to go down, tell this. He was telling them all along. Why? So that they didn't regulate Larry Fink. So they gave him free pass. They did.
Yeah. My favorite thing about the birthday card was that there was like a sketch of a naked woman done in felt marker.
Right.
And the press, the legacy media is making a huge thing about this naked woman drawing, and it's where it's signed is like representing pubic hair.
Right.
That they're somehow making like
there's no way Donald Trump wrote that or drew that. There's no way. No.
But like we were talking, waiting to get into the stream. He said, I don't draw. I don't draw women. He
doesn't draw. He doesn't work on a computer. He works on his phone, but not that much.
Yeah. So no.
He posts on his phone. He posts on Truth Social.
See, the thing about MAGA is people can get upset about things, but it doesn't mean a divorce. You can have an argument without having a divorce.
Right.
And I can, and I don't think anybody cares about Epstein.
They don't.
Nobody cares about Epstein. He's gone. Good riddance. He was a pig.
Yeah.
He was worse than that.
They care about people getting away with
what they care about. What everybody, including me, and I dare say you, we care about the deep state that protects the ones that they want to protect, and let's
there's very high end people from all countries in the world, including Israel, and they were supposedly in the mix of this. And I'm not talking just because Epstein was Mossad, because he was. They've already admitted it. I saw a guy from Mossad admit it yesterday in an interview. He said, "Yeah, he's part of." There
was somebody on TV just a couple of days ago, in an interview a couple of days ago, that said it's a fantasy. He never was associated with Israel.
Right. Well, there's another guy.
It was the former president, former prime minister of Israel.
Who?
Former prime minister of Israel. God.
I
I'm
don't know.
forgetting the name. Anyway, he gave an. He said no. The Mossad answered to me. He was never involved with Israel.
Yeah,
Never
we can
involved
always
with the
trust
Mossad.
those guys, right? No,
Yeah. Well,
the
that's the other
spies, right?
side of that coin.
Well, there was
You
a
believe
guy.
everything they say.
There was a guy that was in Mossad, and he's very high up, and he did an interview. I can't remember who he did it with. It might have been redacted. There was a guy that was in Mossad, and he's very high up, and he did an interview. You have a mic problem.
Yeah. I don't know what's
I can
happening.
hear myself. You know what it is?
The,
You got to shut off. Do you have another tab open of the
no, the thing is, I've got the volume turned off, but then every time I move my cursor, if I'm not careful, some reason it comes back on.
Yeah, well, if you have a second tab open of the live stream itself, you have to mute it because the sound.
No. I have it muted right on the computer, but for some reason it turned itself off now 2 or 3 times, or it turned itself back on.
We're gonna get back. We're gonna get to why we're here.
Yeah, we'll get there, folks. We'll get there.
Yeah. All right. So these are the main stories tonight. I wrote this one, but I just wanted to tell it, and why not show mine instead of some other company? Okay. So MAGA influencers rally behind Trump as media hit job falls apart. We already talked about that a little bit. Winning Senate votes 88-2 to bolster key energy sector. That alone, okay, that alone is going to explode the economy, because your economy is really your energy sector. If you have a piss poor energy sector, i.e., the Biden administration, you're not going to do as well as you are under a Trump. Okay. Patel promises transparency as Jim Jordan, who say, I don't know if they calculated this, because everybody loves Jim Jordan and they trust him. I do. Right. Jim Jordan wants Bondi Patel to speak on Epstein files, and they will talk to him. Senate passes Trump-backed spending cuts in rescission bill. That's another big one. All right. Bondi to announce plans to reopen Alcatraz as Pelosi loses her mind. Here we go. This is a Republican woman, congresswoman down in Florida, but White House shoots down Salazar's amnesty and migration. But wait till you hear the things that she was saying. This is the fun story of the week. The Democratic Civil War has begun, and Obama pulled the trigger. CNN uses fake data, says Trump encourages racial gerrymander. They got nailed. And then this is an hour long. We're not going to listen to that, but we'll read it. The video is, excuse me, I got to sneeze. Glenn Beck goes over 10 Epstein cover-up theories. I saw the first 5 last night, and he breaks it down. It could be this. It could be this. You know, he goes down and he goes through each one. He goes, there's no way it's that. And he convinces you, because there is no way. Jack Posobiec, MAGA going through a little family drama, but it's all good. And then we have the rest of the litany of stuff. That's the fire hose right there. We got some good stuff, though, tonight. So let's begin. MAGA influencers. All right. So the Wall Street Journal thought it had a bombshell. They ran with a story that President Donald Trump supposedly sent a crude birthday letter to Jeffrey Epstein. That's what they claimed. Of course, they didn't actually have the letter. Right. They didn't have it, but, you know, they said it was a birthday card. But that didn't stop them. They printed it anyway in their own lettering, though. And what was the result? A total backfire. Some of the same MAGA influencers who had been frustrated with Trump, and that doesn't mean they're not still frustrated, who have been frustrated with Trump over the Epstein files, are now lining up to defend him, because even they can smell what this is. It's another media hit job, sloppy, desperate, and weird. Among the top influencers speaking up, journalist Megyn Kelly, Tesla CEO Elon Musk, Turning Point USA Charlie Kirk, and Jack Posobiec. He was formerly of One American News. I forget where he's at now. I think he inherited something. They all lit up X on Thursday night, basically laughing off the journalist's claims. The article said that Trump wrote Epstein a note in 2003 that featured some kind of third-person dialogue. Now, like, why would Trump do that? It was a third-person dialogue between 2 men inside a drawing of a naked woman. Yes, really. That's what they're saying. And it supposedly included Trump's signature. But again, the paper admits it doesn't actually have the letter. They ran the whole story without the evidence. This is the Wall Street Journal for you. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt confirmed that. She said that the outlet admitted to the administration it did not have possession of the letter it bases the story on. So they're making accusations based on something they've never seen. It's fiction journalism. And they got away with it. Well, they didn't because we're slamming them, but they actually published it. They should be punished for something like that. So what is
Yeah,
this really?
I hope he sues them. I hope he
Oh, he
sues
said
them.
that's what he said. I'll get to that. So what is this really? It's not journalism. It's a hit disguised as a scoop. They're trying to plant an image. They don't care if it's fake. They don't. They really don't. They're becoming the new CNN, right? In fact, they seem to prefer it that way. And now Trump is hitting back hard. He's calling the story fake, and he says he's going to sue the Journal, News Corp, and Rupert Murdoch over it. He's not playing games. He's drawing a line. And if you want to see the absurdity of it all in one sentence, just picture someone online summed up perfectly. The irony, what is that? Now, Megyn Kelly didn't hold back. Here you go. She writes, "This is the dumbest attempted hit piece I've ever seen." And this is what it looks like. I'll show you when we get here. So apparently, this is what they wrote. The letter bearing Trump's name, it's bawdy, like others in the album. It contains several lines of typewritten text framed by the outline of a naked woman, which appears to be hand-drawn with a heavy marker. He even says, "I can't draw," and he doesn't use computers. And I think, what year was it? What was it, 2003 or something? I don't know. It does not, and they're all saying it doesn't sound like this is Colin Rugg. Just in, the Wall Street Journal releases an alleged letter from Donald Trump to Jeffrey Epstein for Epstein's 50th birthday. President Trump says the letter is a fake thing, and he's going to sue the outlet. The letter allegedly involved a hand-drawn woman. The text that read, "Happy birthday, and may every day be another wonderful secret." Now, can you imagine Trump writing something like that? First of all,
no.
Because that's salacious, okay? Right there, another wonderful secret, right? Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Yet the minute he found out what Epstein was doing, he banned him from Mar-a-Lago for life. President Trump says the 2003 letter is not from him. Quote, "This is not me. This is a fake thing. It's a fake Wall Street Journal story. I never wrote a picture in my life." He meant draw. "I never wrote a picture in my life. I don't draw pictures of women. It's not my language. It's not my words. I'm going to sue the Wall Street Journal just like I sued everyone else," he said. And he did. And he won. He won every single time. He sued CNN. ABC had to pay him money. So Jack Posobiec, formerly One American News, who now hosts Human Event Daily, that's it, on Real America's Voice, said that if Trump were in the Epstein files, the Democrats and the deep state would have released the document. This is what I've been saying a long, long time ago. And they would. I mean, think about it. He's saying here, if Trump was in the Epstein files, he would have released it, and there wouldn't have been any need to make up a fake Russian hooker dossier. That was the PP tape. They said in the dossier, they said that there was a tape, okay? And Adam Schiff was the one, I saw this tape. He never describes it, and he never brought it forward. Any of the evidence he said, he's a scumbag. He's in trouble, too. But what it was they said that Trump went to Moscow, and he went to the same hotel that Barack and Michael went to, and he demanded that he had the same room they had, and then he had hookers on top of him urinating on him. That was in the dossier. I don't know if you guys ever know that, but that crap was literally in the dossier. So everybody's coming out in defense of Trump. No, it doesn't sound like Trump. The cryptic dialogue and crude drawing clash with his direct, boastful style. He's right.
Yeah, that's an AI analysis.
Yeah, it's Grok. Yeah. But there's another Grok. I didn't put it in here. Why? But I'm going to talk about it. There's another Grok that said, "Yeah, it sounds exactly like him." I mean, come on. Now it was a libnut who said, "I want you," because they don't show you the question like they do up here. This guy does. He's showing it up here, but mostly they don't show it to you. So they could have said, "I want you to say this." That's how it could happen. And this guy could have faked it too. He could have put this up here and never really asked Grok that. But all right, after announcing plans to sue the Wall Street Journal, its parent company, and Rupert Murdoch himself, Trump directed Attorney General Pam Bondi to, quote, "produce any and all pertinent grand jury testimony related to Epstein pending court approval." And he says that right there. "This scam perpetrated by the Democrats should end right now. All right, so here we are, another baseless hit job from the corporate press, another round of media hysteria, and once again, it all collapses under the weight of its own nonsense. No evidence, no credibility, just recycled slime and desperate timing. But this time, Trump isn't letting it slide. He's going on offense. And now the people who matter, from Elon Musk to Jack Posobiec, are standing with him because they know what this really is. It's not journalism. It's political warfare dressed up as reporting. And they just got caught red-handed. That's that. That's a wrap on that. But yeah, they're just scumbags. That like they didn't think that people are going to go, wait a minute, you jackass. That's not real. Hey, what's up, Louie? What's up, Bobbity? Good to see you guys. No, we didn't play that yet. I'm going to. Yeah, Louis sent me a link to an anonymous. It's pretty good. It's a video. It's an anonymous video about this. It's actually pretty good. And then I watched another guy. Never saw his show before. It comes up. It's got a boring intro, and then it has one of those just squares up top. Not even a cube, and it's just a square up top, and it has the logo. I thought it was Puerto Rican Panorama. Remember that show on Sundays? But that's besides the point. But instead, this guy, he brings that guy, Nick, what's his name? Oh, God, it begins with an S. Anyway, he's been in the news lately. Huh?
Nick Fuentes?
No. It's another guy, Nick Sanjay. I can't remember. But he gets on there, and he says, well, he's the guy that's been releasing a lot of stuff, and he had supposedly the files himself years ago, and he started releasing them. What's up, Chris? Sora, yeah, you're right. Thank you, sir. And so he said, oh, Donald Trump's absolutely in the files, and he's done heinous things and all that. And I'm sitting there going, bullshit. I mean, if you know Trump, and he's never actually shown. He says years ago he released them, but nobody remembers it. Sort of, yeah. Nobody remembers it. Nobody. I don't want to play it because it's too long, but it's like nobody remembers him releasing it. It was never like a big story or anything that he released it, but that's what he's saying now. And a lot of people say he's credible. I don't know. Let's go to the next one. Okay. Senate passes the spending. Let's go to the Pelosi one. There it is. Just the news. It's John Solomon saying, Bondi to announce plans to reopen Alcatraz as Pelosi calls it Trump's stupidest initiative yet. I like my headline better. It should concern us all that clearly the only intellectual resources the administration has drawn upon for this foolish notion are decades-old fictional Hollywood movies. Oh my goodness, Attorney General. It almost sounds like she's got crack cooks on the island, and she doesn't want the job to stop. You know, Attorney General Pam Bondi is set to announce plans to reopen Alcatraz as a federal prison on Thursday. As Representative Nancy Pelosi, Democrat, California, of course, calls it President Trump's stupidest initiative yet. Bondi and Interior Secretary Doug Burgum are expected to officially announce the Trump administration's plan to reopen Alcatraz as a federal prison. Good, we get more movies, which is currently controlled by the National Park Service and generates about $60 million in annual revenue. She's going to complain that annual revenue will no longer come in for California. That's what she'll bitch about. A bill is expected to be introduced in the House of Representatives to pave the way for Alcatraz to reopen by ending environmental protections for the site and rescinding the National Park Service's control of it. Pelosi said in a statement that reopening is the Trump administration. We've already read that 3 times now. It should concern us all that clearly the only intellectually decades-old fictional movie. She's full of crap. Trump first proposed the reopening in May and recently talked about renderings of a new facility. Democratic California governor, who I don't give a shit who says that he is running for president, Gavin Newsom's office said in a statement, Pam Bondi will reopen Alcatraz the same day Trump lets her release the Epstein files. So never. San Francisco Mayor Daniel Lurie also said in a statement, there's no realistic plan to make Alcatraz reopen as anything other than the wonderful tourist attraction that it currently is. How much you want to bet that their smart-ass comments like that force Trump to bring it onto the front burner to get it done sooner rather than later?
Yeah, the only problem with that is that they basically have to rebuild from scratch because
Yeah.
the
It's all falling. It's
cement,
250 million it's going to cost.
yeah, this 50 years ago, the
Yeah.
cement was falling apart because of the salt water.
Yeah, I know. Oh, I know. I know. But let's see what's next. This woman. This woman, I didn't know anything about her. She's a Florida congresswoman. She's a Republican, supposedly. But it says the White House has rejected Representative Maria Salazar's suggestion President Trump get this, owes God a she's got to be a rhino because the libnuts are invoking the Bible now. Owes God a favor and should repay the debt by signing her amnesty and migration bill. Does that make any sense to anyone here? The same God, quote, the same God who saved you from death in Pennsylvania 1 year ago and who put you back in the Oval Office against all odds is the same God Almighty who millions and millions of illegal immigrants are begging for some type of dignity. Okay. It's in your hands, Mr. President. May the Lord guide you. Kishmelotukis, I would have said. On Thursday, Trump's press secretary, Caroline Leavitt, replied, the president made it clear he will not support amnesty for illegal aliens in any way. And he had to come out and say that because a lot of libnuts were they throw things out into the interwebs in hopes that it picks up and goes viral and everybody believes it. They were saying, oh, he's going to do amnesty. And he even said, no, I'm never doing amnesty. From my understanding, neither the White House nor the president has actually read through the legislation, she said. Salazar's theocratic pitch for amnesty and cheap labor, exactly, is insulting, said Jessica Vaughn, policy director at the Center for Immigration Studies. Vaughn added, she thinks that that's what he's a sucker for, and for flattery and her promises that he will be loved more by the people she's advocating on behalf. But he doesn't need these people. They're never going to agree with him on any of his immigration policy goals. Right. The illegals won't. Right. So let's see what.
I have two questions for you. Sure. First on Congress. Congresswoman Salazar introduced legislation that would give some illegal immigrants in the country path to citizenship. 10 Republicans signed on to what she's calling the Dignity Act. I'm curious what the White House's position is on the legislation and if the president would veto this bill if it made it to its desk.
From my understanding, the White House nor the president has actually read through this legislation. We've been focused on, of course, the One Big Beautiful Bill, which passed, which is another historic accomplishment of this president in record time. The Genius Act this week, the rescissions package, that's been the focus of the White House. But the president has made it very clear he will not support amnesty for illegal aliens in any way.
Nice.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to sign anything for amnesty.
Yeah, I doubt it. Highly doubt it. Yeah, she's a Republican. Yeah, that's exactly right. Escape from New York, a reality. Yeah, there you go. We should. Yeah. Convict. Hey, what's up, Linda? How you doing? Hey, Vamps. Didn't see you there. Sorry. What's up, brother? Who else is here?
Yeah, you want to come here legally, be fully vetted.
Yeah, and have a job in line.
And do everything correctly. You got no problem.
And be able to support yourself.
Yeah. God knows I did it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I really ripped this a-hole on X, a new one. He jumped all over this guy. He was a real smartass too. He said that he's one of those ones that believes that, well, everybody has a right to file an asylum claim. No, you don't. Like hell you do. Like hell you do. No one that comes into the United States illegally has the right. Why? International law. They always forget that part. International law says it has to be the next country you come to that is not at war or their government is persecuting you. That's not the United States. For a lot of people, it's Mexico. For a lot of other people, it's Guatemala. Right? They cannot choose what country they're going to go to and ask for asylum. And the law also says that if your country is not persecuting you politically or is not in war, you don't fit the status of a refugee. You have to be a refugee, meet that status first in order to be able to get asylum. What happens is you had all these left-wing lawyers that were going down What's that? Rumble's having all these cliches switched, and I switched to YouTube. Oh, cool. So, Rumble's giving a hard time? Yeah. Yeah, I
Did
don't
he
know.
mean cliches or glitches?
I think he meant glitches. We're also on.
I think he meant.
We're on BitChute, Rumble, and we're on Odyssey this week as well. So we're on 3 others for now. I'll go X real soon. Got to set it up though. It's a little more complicated with X. Anyway, yeah. What was I talking about? I can't even remember. Let's just go to the next one. This one's going to be great. This is my.
Oh, I got to see this one about Obama.
Yeah, that's the one. You knew it. All right, hold on. Let me do present, share screen. Here it is. All right. The Democratic Civil War has begun, and Obama pulled the trigger. Look at him. That's my O mouth for when Michael's really excited. Last week, Barack Obama gave some advice to his party, and it's astonishing how quickly his words turned into a self-inflicted political wound. He was once hailed as the Democratic Party's unifying figure, but Obama's recent scolding of his own party's base didn't just flop, it sparked a backlash even his defenders can't ignore. As PJ Media previously reported, during a ritzy gathering of party elites in New Jersey, how can anything be ritzy in New Jersey? Obama dismissed the rampant frustration among liberals, telling them to show a little bit less navel-gazing and a little less whining and being in fetal positions. And it's going to require Democrats to just toughen up, he said. Predictably, the base didn't take it lying down, and frankly, I can't blame them. This is the same party that cooked up the Russia collusion hoax under Obama, impeached President Trump twice for no legitimate reason, weaponized the justice system to try to throw him behind bars, sent the FBI to raid his home, tried to remove him from the ballot, and unleashed such venomous rhetoric that it helped inspire not one but 2 near assassinations. It's hard to imagine how much more aggressive they could be. Even pillars of the leftist media couldn't stomach it. Whoopi Goldberg publicly unloaded on Obama for his patronizing lecture, or whatever. Quote, let me remind everybody who was out on the front lines marching. When we had the giant marches that went on, it was the people. The people went out. They were not navel gazing. It was older people who were saying, why are you touching my Social Security? Goldberg claimed, even though Social Security isn't being touched. It was not people whining. It was about people saying, why are you taking these rights away from my child when my child was born here? Because they never had that right. It wasn't a right. Whoopi wasn't the only one on the left to speak out against what Obama said. Barack Obama said we need to toughen up. Sean, I think what we need to do is sober up, former Democratic strategist Dan Turrentine told Sean Hannity on Fox News. After the last election, the 2 things everyone said Democrats needed to do was 1, get over Trump derangement syndrome, and 2, moderate on social issues and things like immigration. But what have we done? Anytime any member tries to do it, the base screams because the base is nuts. That's why. The real problem isn't a lack of emotional fortitude. It's a party out of touch with ordinary voters, addicted to its own sanctimony and incapable of moderating its agenda. It's true. When Barack Obama starts getting heat from his own, the shine is wearing off. Ooh, that writer's going to get in trouble for that. For years, Democrats treated him like a political messiah, untouchable, above reproach. They thought he'd shit rainbows and ice cream, as a matter of fact. The party's ultimate unifier. But now, even the base is pushing back, and the criticism isn't coming from the fringes. It's from within the ranks of legacy media and longtime strategists. Yikes. That's not just backlash. It's a warning sign. Obama tried to lecture his party on toughening up, but all he really did was reveal how fragile his influence has become. When the cult of Obama starts to crack, it says more about the state of the Democratic Party than any Republican ever could. Disarray and backlash are tearing the Democrats apart. They are falling apart. And PJ Media will call it like it is. Obama's lost his shine. Oh, again, he said it. And the media is desperate to keep the truth from you. And cut. I love it when they're idols. Yeah, lectured. Exactly.
Yeah, the divider in chief.
Yeah, he really was. He was a real piece of crap. I heard him the other day. He was sitting down on stage, and what did he? Yeah, he was talking to Michael. Well, they did a podcast together, and he was saying like, if a fella is inside of college and he's sitting in the classroom and there is a gay professor, but the professor actually took a liking to him. I'm sitting here going, wait a minute. He's like trying to say it playfully and like, legitimately that there's a kid in school getting groomed. And she's in the background going, yeah, yes, I'm like, that's very telling. That the tranny is in there going, yeah, I know.
Let's not go down that rabbit hole. Yeah. I don't agree with you.
Yeah, I don't care. So here we go. CNN uses fake data. This is another good one.
Oh, really? This is my shock face.
I know. CNN uses this is Newsbusters. They're very good, by the way. CNN uses fake data, says Trump encourages racial gerrymandering. Now, for anybody who doesn't know what gerrymandering is, we all do. Maybe some of our UK friends don't. Gerrymandering is whenever a party is in charge of a state, the legislature, and the governorship, or if they think they can get it through, they can do redistricting, and they always do it in the favor of their party. So the Democrats do it, and the Republicans complain, and they go, "Oh, we have the majority. Screw you." And then when the Republicans do it, and the Democrats don't say, "Well, you have the majority," no, they go to judges, and the judges overrule the legislature, which they're not allowed to do, but they do it anyway. State judges, they like in Pennsylvania right before 2020, or no, it was before 2020. This our Supreme Court, Pennsylvania Supreme Court, not only did they screw with the mail-in ballot law and change that law, which is illegal. Article 1, Section 4 says that only a state legislature gets to do it, right? But they also gerrymandered. They said, well, we're not going to ask you to re-gerrymander and be favorable. We're going to do it for you. And they did, and they absolutely gave it to the Democrats. It was unbelievable. No one ever heard of that before, but Supreme Court didn't want to hear it. All right, on the July 15 broadcast of CNN Newsnight, host Abby Phillip, who I'm going to say something here, okay? This is Abby Phillip. Yes, she's a liberal. I don't think she's a leftist, though, because there's many times I've seen where she's agreed with Scott Jennings. She really has. So I don't know. Well,
get that paper out again. There's another topic we disagree on. This is a left-wing whack job.
No, I've heard her, like, she's a liberal, but she's not a leftist. I don't think she's never been for woke. She's not, none of that crap. She's never gone for that.
Didn't you hear what she said just the other day?
About what?
She said, well, how do we know? I complete paraphrasing because I don't remember, but she basically said, well, how do we really know that Trump was shot? Maybe he wasn't shot. Maybe, we haven't seen any doctor's notes. Why doesn't he give us the doctor's notes?
Are you sure it was her? Because I heard another woman on CNN say that.
Yeah,
but it wasn't the other day. Why would
it was her, and I believe it was Scott Jennings who said, well, I went to this or that the next day and he had this bandage on him. And that's like,
I don't remember that, but all right.
You're saying that he didn't get shot.
But that doesn't make you a leftist. A leftist is somebody, I just disagree respectfully. A leftist is somebody that says if a man puts on a dress and declares he's a woman, he's actually a woman. That's a whole sight different from saying, look, we never really saw that his ear was shot, and we didn't, right? We saw the blood and all that. We didn't see like the ear, like nobody took a hold up.
No, that's a left-wing conspiracy theorist.
Right, but that's not a leftist.
A left-wing libnut.
Yeah, you could say she's a libnut, but she's not a leftist. She's not. She's never said anything leftist.
Okay, get that paper out. That's number 2 we disagree on.
Yeah, all right. That's fine. All right, Phillip opened the segment by saying Trump wanted to destroy Texas's congressional districts. The last time, well, see, Trump doesn't have, that's the thing. Trump doesn't have the right to redraw the map. He did it with a Sharpie. Okay. So what? If he drew a woman on a page, does that mean the woman's going to show up in the room? Come on. Jesus. The last time Donald Trump, well, let's just watch it.
So what does it signify that Republicans ahead of the midterms believe that it's going to be so necessary to get an upper hand that they have to actually redraw an entire state's congressional maps in order to get 5 whole seats out of it?
Oh, probably the same thing that it signifies when they did it in Illinois and got a 14-3 delegation for D's. Maryland,
Democrats.
7-1, Massachusetts, 9-0. We know what happened here in New York, California, even though they have a commission, we all know what goes on there.
In a mid-cycle specifically, are all of those cases in mid-cycles?
All of these cases are where Democrats use the power they have to give them an advantage.
But just to be clear, because I didn't.
Yeah, just to be clear, because I didn't think you were going to have all that information at the tip of your fingers.
Do the research that you did in the break here.
She just admitted it.
Is it that they're changing it after the actual census process where you're supposed to create you're supposed to go through the congressional redistricting process?
Who knows? Does it matter?
Yes,
very
much. I think that's the whole point.
So it's okay for Democrats to...
This guy here, this black gentleman right here, straight ahead, and this, I guess, the silver jacket. He is awesome, by the way.
Side these states, 9-0 in Massachusetts.
Here's what I will say about this. I mean, I don't know that
he's
Texas
another Scott Jennings
has done this before. So you're right that it's not new, but the point is that it's unusual, and they're doing it because the midterms are coming.
What's unusual is when your state Supreme Court does the gerrymandering for the Democrats or for any party, really.
And it's
and what's unusual?
There's a weakness.
No, what's unusual is when your attorney general in Arizona running for governor refuses to recuse herself from all the being in charge of the election.
Right.
Give me a break.
Right.
That they're anticipating, and they want to get ahead of it.
It's not just because the midterms are coming. It is because the last census told us that from 2010 to 2020, the 95% of Texas's population increase has been because of Black and brown people in the state. And so when you redraw the congressional maps, you may have more people voting, but they're voting in gerrymandered congressional districts. This is why I get so frustrated when people say, "Oh,
hold on." Did you know that in many states, what the Democrats did, okay, you would have your state, and over here, you would have a township that was mostly Black, and then 10 miles away, you'd have another township that was mostly Black, and then possibly 5 miles going up that way, you'd have another township that was mostly Black. So you have 3 mostly Black townships, but they were in counties that were mostly white, okay? So what they did to gerrymander, they would make all 3 of those the same voting district. Now, how would they do it? They would say, okay, that's part of it. And then this one road going for 10 miles, this highway.
Yeah.
Nothing on either side. That's part of the district. And then we connect it to here. And then this road here, it goes all the way up 5 miles. Nothing to see here, but it goes. And so all 3. And the argument was, I mean, I'm sorry, that's the racism of the Democrats. They think that Black people who live up here in this county, right, with all their rules, regulations, laws, schools, everything, that they have everything in common with the people that live down here and with the people that live up here. People don't live the same way in completely 10 miles away. Your own counties, 10 miles away, you don't live the same way. I'm 10 miles from Philly. I don't live the same way people in Philly live. They don't live the same way I do, right? But that's the racism of the Democratic Party to do that. And now she's complaining because they're redistricting in Texas because the left is trying to turn it blue, and they got a bunch of illegals that have signed up, that have registered.
Just hang on until midterms, as if that's going to change anything. This is an example of a long storied history in this country of manipulating the electoral process.
Yeah, and you guys are the ones that have always done it.
And we're seeing it play out right before our eyes in Texas. Gerrymandering is not illegal. Racial gerrymandering certainly is.
And you guys did racial gerrymandering. But see, they don't consider it racial gerrymandering when you're doing it for your race. It's only when you're doing it against another race. And so they'll say, if the Republicans did this, they'll say, oh, the white people, they're doing it now. They're gerrymandering against minorities. But when minorities do it that are Democrats, they'll say, oh, well, no, we're only protecting ourselves. That's all we're doing. How dare you, bigot? this is the ridiculous.
And this is exactly what's happening since SCOTUS obliterated Section 3 and Section 5 of the Voting Rights Act, of which
oh my goodness,
Texas has a long history of violating.
No, it's not enough time. He would. I'll bet he destroyed her, and they didn't want to show it for whatever reason. I don't know. What's up, Slim? Haven't seen you before. Welcome. Ludwig, what's up, brother? How you been, man? Let me see. Who else we got? Anybody else new? All right.
Is that what Slim said? Are in the UK they got 16-year-olds to vote now?
Oh, I don't know. Is that what it is? I don't know.
Yeah, did he put a comment up?
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
16-year-olds to vote?
Is that true, Slim? Or anybody out in the U of K?
They're only giving the vote to the 16-year-old. That's crazy. Hey, what's up, brother or sister? Don't know who you are. First time I've seen you, but welcome. Let's see. Ludwig, 50 years behind the wheel for me. I'm so old. Ha! All right. Yeah, you're old, though. I'm right behind you, brother. Let me see. What else we got? Yeah, let me do this one. I'm going to do the Jack Posobiec, and then that's it for these. For now, anyway. Until we run out of stuff to read. Because we do that for the last several weeks now. Jack Posobiec, MAGA going through a little family drama, but it's all good. On Wednesday's Alex Marlowe show, which is probably one of the most boring podcasts I've ever listened to. I don't like Alex Marlowe. I like Breitbart, but I don't like him. Human Events senior editor Jack Posobiec stated that there have always been internal debates and different opinions within MAGA, but it's not a big deal, and that's just normal. It's right. He's right. Go ahead. You want to say something?
No, I'm just.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I thought I heard you.
Just getting comfortable.
Okay. Posobiec said, we've been fighting since day one and we're not going to stop, but it's all good. Look, MAGA's a family. Look, every family's got family drama, but we're still a family. He said, let's be real. No, it's prepper food. I guess it's over. I'm not going to listen to it. In other words, what he's saying is, look, guys, yeah, we argue with each other, but guess what? That's what you do in a healthy republic, right? You don't walk goose step like the Dems always do. I mean, think about it. They had a woke supremacy, and if you got out of line, you were no longer in the supremacy.
Yeah, it's like a couple of brothers.
I don't know what the hell that was. A couple of brothers.
I beg your pardon. Where did that come from? I was just getting comfortable.
Yeah, go ahead. He's joking.
Yeah, it's like, you get a couple of brothers knocking the crap out of each other, and then some stranger comes along and tries to take one of them.
Yeah.
And the two brothers they'll make a solid line there.
Yeah. Let's see what's next. I had a lot of shit up there. All right, here we go. 82. This is great. A lot of people, they think this kind of shit is boring, right? But in the end, these are the little things that are making the country wealthy again. Ready? Senate votes 88-2 to bolster key energy sector, which I said before. Your energy sector, your energy policies are what make or break your economy everywhere, especially in the U.S. The U.S. Senate voted overwhelmingly to pass a key piece of legislation to bolster the country's nuclear energy sector. The bill passed by a vote of 88-2, with Senators Ed Markey and Bernie Sanders opposing the measure, of course. The nuclear package was combined with another bill that reauthorized the U.S. Fire Administration and grant programs for firefighters. This combined package will also go to the president's desk. The measure aims to speed up the process of approving the construction of new nuclear plants, as many of the country's existing plants reach the end of their serviceable lives. In addition, it cuts the licensing fees that power companies must pay to begin projects. It also mandates the Nuclear Regulatory Commission to prepare a report examining ways to simplify and expedite the environmental review process. Quote, it will be history-making in terms of small modular reactors, which is the future of nuclear, said Shelley Moore Capito, whatever, told reporters. Supporters of the measure say it's a tremendous boost for the nation's nuclear power sector. And it is. I don't know how people here feel about nuclear, but I mean, yeah, Chernobyl. That was a problem, but I think the movie, if anything, if they were true to it, proved that it was socialism that caused that problem because they bought the cheapest shit they could get their hands on, and that's what the flaw was there in the end when it's all said and done.
Ned, we have Fukushima.
Yeah. That was bad.
And
all the fish
problem
died.
with that one, the problem with that one is they had, and I forget the exact numbers, but they had designed it to handle up to like a 7 earthquake, and then they got an 8
really?
or a 7.5.
Oh wow.
That's what happened.
Oh wow.
It was just a freak.
Yeah. That is true. So basically what they're saying is they're making it easier to be able to either build a new nuclear plant or to rebuild because they're getting old. Without all they're streamlining the system is what they're doing.
You know, that's the only way we're going to keep up our lifestyle. We need to generate a lot of energy, and I don't see any way to do it but nuclear.
Yeah. Yeah, but they don't want nuclear. They don't want anything except windmills and cow farts. I mean, I don't know what else they want. Windmills and electric. But you know what? Windmills cost more. They cost more money, and they cause more problems in the environment than anything else, really. Good question. About what? Tesla? Pam is our Tesla girl here. She loves Tesla. Well, you do too, I know. All right.
Yeah, I mean, I like my Tesla.
Yeah.
I'm saving the world one electric vehicle at a time.
There you go. And I know that's not why you got it. So.
And I was going to say, if anybody actually believes that, they forgot to look at the sarcasm meter.
There you go. Here we go. This is what Louis gave me earlier. This is pretty good, actually.
Imagine this. The day after the real proof drops. Not rumors or flight logs, but undeniable footage of world leaders doing hideous, unmentionable things to children. The world reacts with horror. Governments crumble. Markets collapse. Chaos spreads. Why? Because when power is suddenly removed without a plan, a vacuum forms, and nature abhors a vacuum. Now imagine you hold that proof, evidence implicating presidents, billionaires, architects of global control. You could release it, or you could use it to force them to surrender, dismantle their networks, and retreat without war. That's not corruption. That's leverage. And leverage is how you remove power without triggering collapse. To the doubters who say Trump is on the list, ask yourself, if that were true, why did they deploy everything to stop him? Lawfare, fake investigations, a CIA-signed Russia hoax, even attempts on his life. If they had the leverage on Trump, they would have used it already.
Yep.
But they haven't, because they don't.
That's right.
I wish Trump didn't have to lie. I wish there were another way. Maybe this bizarre, out of sync with MAGA behavior is the wink and the nod. Maybe acting out of character is the message. This isn't about feelings. It's not about outrage or hashtags. It's about power and how it's strategically neutralized. You don't take down the Illuminati or New World Order with a lawsuit. You do it with leverage. Silent, invisible, world-shaping leverage. My friends, we are all anonymous, and welcome to the real world.
Dr. Marks here. I'm the gentleman that was on the Sean Ryan podcast that talked about pedophilia and explained how there are networks. This is coming from someone who, one, hunts pedophiles and protects children through our task force. This is the reality that I want people to understand. And the reason why the Epstein list will not come out, like I've said from the beginning, is because it is an intelligence operation. Yep. The best form of currency right now for control and power in our world is videos or pictures of children being abused by certain adults. When you have those as leverage, you can control a person to make decisions that will shape nations and truly make the difference in both political, legal, business, and world economics. The moment you prosecute a pedophile that would be on that list, you lose the leverage on them, and you also risk them telling the rest of the story.
That was interesting.
Yeah, that's interesting. I've been hearing that one thing that might be going on is that Trump's got the list and he's using it as an intel resource.
Right, that's what a lot of people are saying now.
That's the latest thing but nobody's ever going to know.
Yeah. Oh, I know.
I mean, if that's true, nobody will ever know. That's going to be like Bigfoot.
The Sasquatch, man. Let's see what else we got. I'm going to move up top. Miranda Devine, how he can fix this mess. Oh, this is one that I want to read. It's David Limbaugh, who's Rush Limbaugh's brother, and he's a damn good writer. Because I read his one book. I bought the other, never read it, never got around to it. But anyway, David Limbaugh explains why he thinks Trump is pissed about Epstein. So he said, let's get into this here. We'll do it on this side. So he says, many think Trump is being dismissive of the Epstein thing, cavalier. I don't read it that way. I think he's pissed. He has racked up, and this is what Trump has said after he wrote this. He has racked up amazing, unprecedented policy accomplishments, and Epstein is sucking the wind out of it, not to just to his detriment, but ultimately to ours. I think we're being presented with a false choice. You either favor full disclosure, no matter the law and consequences about which we have no knowledge, or you're a petty protector. He's right. Do you all really believe Kash Patel and Dan Bongino, let alone Pam Bondi, despite her PR missteps, have something to hide here? Is it conceivable that Patel and Bongino have railed about this issue for some time and now have some nefarious motive in changing their position? Because I know Bongino, I was a P1 listener, and he talked about this all the time. He hated the fact that the whole Epstein thing was even around. It drove him nuts, and he was disgusted by it. Did they find out, unbeknownst to themselves, that they are on the list? I don't think so. Could there be some plausible explanation as to why they are playing their cards so close to the vest for the time being? Or is the fact that they're doing so proof that they are suddenly embroiled in corruption? That is not plausible to me. I don't think these people change their stripes that quickly. And I don't think my willingness to trust them makes me an enabler of corruption or perversion. Back to Trump. If he were implicated, the Dems would have crucified him when they had sole possession of the materials, files, lists, or no lists. You know it, I know it. But now people who have doggedly supported him, even through tougher times, are turning on him and piling on with the opportunistic Democrats who heretofore haven't given two shakes about any of this. None of us knows the full story yet. None of us knows yet why the administration hasn't done a better job explaining at least that they'll be able to tell us more later. But it seems many have so much invested in believing the worst about this, that Epstein was the leader or at the center of a Robert Ludlum international conspiracy, that they can't let it go. It's as if their worldview will crumble if their worst suspicions aren't vindicated. And if Trump and his administration happen to be in office when this whole thing fizzles, then they too must have been nefariously drawn into this conspiracy that is too powerful even for the fiercest of otherwise moral mortals. In the meantime, Trump's heyday is being rained on, and he feels betrayed by a bunch of supporters who in turn feel that he's betrayed them. Well, I'm just asking for a little grace on both sides, especially the supporters who should have at least give Trump, Bongino, Patel, and even Bondi some trust here before throwing them to the dogs. There has to be more to the story, or possibly way less to the story. But this idea that previously non-corrupt people have immediately become corrupt just doesn't pass the smell test for me. And it surprises me that so many supporters have been so quick to jump ship. It surprised me too. And I repeat, no way in hell I'm defending the protection or insulation of pedophiles or corruption. Trump's policies on the border alone have burnished his credentials as an enemy of trafficking and pedophilia. I'm not intending to conflate the different issues, but he deserves credit for that. And as dramatic and juicy as it sounds, I do not believe Occam's razor leads to the conclusion that the administration is concealing these files or lists because to disclose them would implicate all kinds of world leaders and lead to the downfall of civilization. Sorry, folks, just not buying it. I could very well be wrong about all of this, which goes without saying. But can some of Trump's latter-day critics make the same disclaimer? Will they? Or are they sure they know this is the worst thing that's ever happened? And they now know that the deep state is so deep that it drills all the way down to China and encompasses Trump and his administration? I'm not being sarcastic, and I'll allow as how the administration hasn't handled this adroitly, and that's an understatement. Exactly. But I seriously doubt that if they are concealing anything, it is because they are in any way involved in corruption. If they're holding back serious information, I have to assume they have darn good reason for doing so, even if in the end they are wrong. I also suspect we'll learn sooner rather than later. I hate that Clinton-born phrase. We have a country to save, and we need to remember that, which again is not to say let's close our eyes to massive corruption because the end justifies the means. Rather, it is to say we have a country to save, and the government officials we're entrusting to do that as our representatives are probably not doing anything wrong here, and you should strongly consider that. So many people I greatly respect, I'm sure radically disagree with me here, but that doesn't make me disrespect them or judge them, as I fear many of them might judge me for my stance here. But I can't live with that. I can live with that. And at least in humility, I will say I don't know and can't yet know all that's involved. And until I have more information in the fullness of time, I'm going to trust the people I trust. And they've repeatedly earned that trust beyond my wildest expectations, in fact, accomplishing things I would never have thought possible, much less in such a short period of time, from the dismantling of the administrative state and Department of Education to the emasculation of Iran's nukes and to the sealing of a seemingly irreversibly porous border, to the re-unleashing of energy, to the taming of inflation, to the resurrection of the military. We all forget this stuff. To the Doge focus on fraud, waste, and corruption, to the defunding of Ivy League institutions, to tariff revenues and major steps toward peace around the world, and so much more. God bless you all, because presumably we want the same things, except those who would exploit this issue or any others for their own self-aggrandizement. Hear, hear. That's a lot, pretty much what I'm saying all along.
And Babadi, the only thing that I would say to your comment there is give it a minute. We don't know what's going on. Okay, we don't know. All I can say for sure is that when Patel, Bongino, and Bondi got in there and saw what was there, there was a little shakeup in their foundation, and now this is how they're behaving. You don't know. I'm hoping we get more information later. And again, I don't remember if we talked about this, but the files could be compromised. So I don't know why they wouldn't have just come out and said that. But if the files are compromised, then basically you're using bad evidence to go after the wrong people, and the pedophiles get away anyway. So
right. And let me say this.
Wait it out.
Let me say this too. I seriously don't think that Trump doesn't think ending child exploitation is bad. I seriously think, because he talked about trafficking all the time in the first administration, and right now, I mean, we still got 3.5 years. It's only been 6 months, and he's got all these accomplishments. So he had planned. He didn't plan the Epstein debacle. Okay, those 4 years that he waited. He planned everything that he's doing now. He's fixing the country, and the whole child exploitation that is a multi-billion-dollar industry. In the United States is the worst in that industry. We are the worst, and the reason why, we have more money than everybody else. So therefore, we have more people with more money to pay for that kind of garbage, for that despicable shit, right? So I don't think that with what's going on and even the complete mangling of the messaging that Trump and Bondi did, okay, I don't think that means that Trump is in support of child exploitation. I mean, that's what it sounded like you said, and correct me if I'm wrong, but that's what it sounded like you said. Like he's not taking it as seriously as he should. I think he is, but I think there's a lot of stuff in there that we just don't know. We don't know.
You got to wait for the fallout.
Yeah, because that's why I'm not jumping on them. Like I jumped on them for the messaging. They said some stupid things. I had a conversation with my brother Jimmy last night, and they said some really stupid things. But I think it's because they're not used to lying and bullshitting people, so they didn't know how to handle it. I mean, they should have just come out and said, "Look, we promised you we were going to do this." Oh, let me see what you're saying. We agree. Trump saying we who supported him are somehow stupid for believing a Democrat lie, and there's nothing there is a slap in the face. I'm not aiming my support him. I just want to indict. Oh, dude, I'm with you, but I don't think he said we're stupid. What he was saying was out of frustration. I think because if you read some of the things he's been putting out, he's very angry over this stuff. He really is. And I think what's going on is Trump didn't want this shit to come out now. You know, he really didn't. And everybody pushed for it, and I understand why everybody's pushing for it. But I did a video this week where I'm pointing out, and I hope you agree, it's not Epstein that everybody's mad at. Okay, it's not him. I'll dare say it's not even particularly the child sex trafficking, although that's horrific, right? On a scale of 1 to 10, it's a 35, right? But I think what it was all about was that conservatives. Good night, Slim. Have a good one. Thanks for visiting. I think what it was all about, the anger and whatnot, is because for years we've seen where the rich and powerful elites, the leftists, that they get away with murder, literally. They get away with murder. No one gets indicted. No one gets arrested. No one goes to prison. All the shit that we know they did. And they thought when Trump came in the second time, he was deaf because he did talk about it during the campaign, but only because reporters asked him about it. All right? They asked him about it. And so I think what we're really angry at is the fact that yes, they may get away with it. But try to understand what my thinking was from the beginning of all this war that we have going on between us. I always thought, well, you know what? I knew all along that the elites, they're not going to prison. They never do. They never do. And so it didn't really bother me that this shit came out this way, because the way I'm thinking it, yeah, and you might see indictments, but you know what? Think about it. They indicted Michael Sussman, who was the lawyer who lied to the FBI, which is a felony, and you get 5 years in prison, $50,000 fine. But they indicted him and they charged him, and the D.C. jury let him go. Let him go. New York juries do that too when anything about Trump, you know. But he's the guy that hired a crew to come into the Trump Tower and fake the data on the logs on the server there to make it look like he was talking to that Russian bank. He literally did that, and he didn't go to jail. That was a complete felony. He lied to the FBI, right? And he made the whole thing up just to help Hillary. So no one goes to jail, right? So the way I'm looking at this, Epstein's dead. Good. I would love to see all the people that are doing this go to prison. I don't think it's going to happen. I don't. And in fact, I think that if some people came out, some leftists that were on the list, it would destroy on the right. But on the left, I think their constituency base would actually prop them up. They make them. Some of them they would make victims out of. Well, when you grow up in a situation like that and your parents beat the shit out of you, you get into things like that. I mean, they would do anything they can to make it easy. I don't really want to go through that. I would Bob, I would love to see every one of these creeps go down for it. I mean, oh my God, I would donate to a GoFundMe. Now, hey, Charlie, what's going on? How you doing? Yeah, they all suck. The feminine penis. Yeah. So I don't think Trump is trying to do away with the whole Epstein thing, and I do think he's very angry. What's up, Special? Okay.
Yeah, he's
Yeah,
angry
Peter
because
Thiel. Yeah.
Trump is angry because he's made a lot of progress and he's
Oh yeah.
feeling like, oh yeah, as soon as I don't do everything that somebody wants, they're, no. So Bobbity, give it a minute.
Yeah.
Um, I think the one thing we know for sure is we don't know for sure.
Right. Let me
We
say this
don't
too.
know.
Let me say this too. When you're on the campaign trail, you shouldn't make. This is where Trump really effed up. He was asked about, well, are you going to release the JFK files? Yeah, I will. How about the MLK file? Yeah, I will. How about the Jeffrey Epstein? Well, yeah, well, that's a little more complicated. That's exactly what he said, right? But hey, what's up, Cyberboy? But I don't think. I think they screwed up the messaging so bad that people were just pissed with so many other people throughout the years covering things up for the left and the Democrats and the deep state and rhinos, that I think they thought that with the messaging, the way that it was really mangled. Yeah, there's no files. He really did kill himself, and he didn't blackmail anyone. Oh, come on. Helen Keller could tell you're lying, right? And but the fact, yeah, well, I know it, Bobby. You gotta be like Helen Keller, worse than Helen Keller, to not realize it, right? But I think everybody thought that when they came out and said that they thought, oh wow, they're in on it. Now, here's the thing: when you're campaigning, okay, and you say, yeah, I can do that, you don't know what you're saying, because before you get in and now he was president, but I'm sure he never saw the files because he was too busy fighting off the deep state and the Democrats with their phony impeachments and all their Russia bullshit, right? So you don't say, if you don't know what's in there. But I think he went with all the speculation the way we've gone with all the speculation over the years, and he thought, yeah, there's a bunch of shit in there, and he said, whatever we can release, we will. I don't think he knew exactly what was in there, and I think when he got in and he asked Bondi to look at it, well, first of all, she was lied to, and she handled that poorly. She ordered from the Southern District of New York. She ordered the U.S. attorney there to release, to give her everything, and they said they did. And that's when she said she never said the list. She said the files are on my desk and I'm going to go through them. Later on, she said I saw a lot of the things. She said the 10,000 video files, they're all child pornography, will never see the light of day. And she was right to say that. Okay, but I seriously think when Trump got in and she started looking through it, and Patel and Bongino started looking through it, I think they were like, holy mackerel. A lot of this stuff we cannot release. Because, I mean, think about it. Okay, what if, and they're saying it's true, what if one of the old prime ministers of Israel or Prince Andrew, for you UK guys, what if there's so many horrific things in there that they did to little kids, right? What would that do to trade relations, to trusting your government? The American people would really not trust our own government because we knew this shit and we held on to it and didn't do anything about it. I mean, think about all the think about all the complications that could arise just by reading this stuff and going, holy man, Henry Kissinger. I mean, think about it, all the people that could be involved and the foreign policy that could just be wiped away.
And
like
the
the
thing
trade
is,
agreements.
what you've just been going on about being reasonable, don't forget that if they just said, oh, here's a copy of the list and published it in the New York Times, how do you know that has anything to do with reality?
Right. That's another one.
I mean, what if the information in there appears to have been manipulated or made out of whole cloth, and maybe there are people on there that would be destroyed who had nothing to do with anything.
Big beautiful bubble.
So I guess my advice, Bobbity, we got to wait. We got to see where this goes.
I want indictments too, bro. Trust me.
Oh yeah, I mean,
I want them too.
I want them. I want them all to go away, but I don't think it's not like picking up a shoplifter. I don't think it's that simple. I think you really gotta look at what you've got and start with, well, okay, this is what I got. Is it actually real? And then even if it's real, can I prove it? Because that's one of the problems. We want to take these people and indict them. Well, we've got this list. It's compromised, so it's not useful for any indictments. Yep. Now, all you've done is put stuff out there that has just confused the issue even more.
Yeah, and you're right, Special K. I'm sorry. You're right, Special K. And a lot of people are wrongly thinking that Trump and his team are now, I'm not saying you, because I don't know how you feel, but they're saying that Trump and his team are now a part of the deep state because they didn't release it and they fucked up the messaging. I mean, that's what's going on right now, and I just can't see how people could actually think that. All right, I'm going to move on from this because it pisses a lot of people off, and I don't want to piss you guys off. I want to do a funny one right now, because I thought this was funny, the way he started out. And here it is. Remember the Democrats hired 87,000 assholes to go after the American taxpayer? One of them, Alex Mena, who works in the IRS Criminal Investigations Division, caught on hidden camera. The Internal Revenue Service has no problem going after the small people, shooting people, putting people in prison, and destroying people's lives. Then he drops a bomb. The IRS is unconstitutionally using AI to access everyone's bank accounts nationwide. Can you believe this? Like in 6 months, AI, were able to capture $500 million. Mena recalls what IRS agents told him, quote, "When I went to the criminal investigation unit," the guy said, "the first person you shoot, you're going to remember. But after that, you're going to shoot like 100 people. You're not going to remember any of them." He adds, IRS agents are assholes. They are the definition of an asshole. All of them. I believe it, too. Let's see what...
So AI has access to, like, everybody's bank account?
We're not going to watch the whole thing.
They see the amount in your bank account, yes.
I can't... Is it constitutional to do that?
I doubt it. They are assholes.
Really?
They are the definition of an asshole. All of them. They have no problem like going after the small people, putting people in prison, like destroying people's life.
Really?
They have no problem doing that. They said that we were all nice when we started. Now look at us. They are like robots right now. All of them.
I can't wait to give this news to all of my friends.
He's right, too.
Please don't tell them my name.
I think that you would have to...
Too late for that, right? And please don't tell them my name. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're done. You're done. Yeah, here's a good one. This is pretty good too. This is Larry Elder. Hang on, let me bring it up. I like Larry Elder. I used to listen to his radio program. He says, Larry Elder, the judicial tyranny of Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson. Let's bring it up a little. He says, how can you tell if the newest Supreme Court Associate Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson is an activist judge? She admits it. Worse, she appears to think it is her job, if not her duty, to engage in left-wing judicial activism. She really does. And she's not that bright. Yeah, have you read some of her opinions? Holy mackerel. In an interview with CBS News, Jackson explained what she hopes to accomplish in her many dissents. Quote, I just feel that I have a wonderful opportunity to tell people, in my opinions, how I feel about the issues. It's not supposed to be how you feel about the issues. It's, do the issues live up to the Constitution? And that's what I try to do. She added, and I'm not afraid to use my voice. They say that she talks more than any justice combined. This sounds like a podcaster rather than a judge, rather than a justice, as a matter of fact. You might be forgiven for thinking judges are supposed to interpret the law as intended by the legislature and apply the law to resolve disputes before the court. Exactly. Does it live up to the Constitution? Chief Justice John Roberts, for example, compares the role of a justice to that of an umpire whose job is to call balls and strikes. Judges, Roberts said, are like umpires. They don't make the rules, they apply them. As to judges deciding cases based on policy or how they feel about the issues, on their weighing in on policy, Roberts said, I don't think you want judges deciding cases based on what is good policy. There are legal questions here. And he's right about that. So why does he side with the lefties so much? Justice Amy Coney Barrett, a real disappointment, in her majority decision that reined in the power of district courts to impose nationwide injunctions, which was the first thing she did, I like, scolded Jackson for departing from this conventional view of the role of a judge. Barrett wrote, we observe only this. Justice Jackson decries an imperial executive while embracing an imperial judiciary. Spot on. Jackson's judicial philosophy mirrors that of then Supreme Court Associate Justice Thurgood Marshall, who described his judicial philosophy as follows. You have to do what's right and let the law catch up. Oh, my goodness. That is just, that's bad. About the Founding Fathers, Marshall in 1987, on the nation's bicentennial, wrote, the government they devised was defective from the start, requiring several amendments, a civil war, and momentous social transformation to attain the system of constitutional government and its respect for the individual freedoms and human rights that we hold as fundamental today. Now, I will argue against Marshall, saying, you dumbass you, do you really think we would have had a republic if they tried to end slavery? That's what he's talking about. Now, in fact, they did have something. It was called the 3/5 Compromise. That was the first official and it's in our Constitution. That was the first official move that our founders did to try to end slavery by cutting the number of proxy votes that the Southern plantation owners had because they wanted to wipe out the South. They wanted to wipe out slavery, and the only way they could do that was to elect Northerners to the White House. So he says, when contemporary Americans cite the Constitution, they invoke a concept that is vastly different from what the framers barely began to construct 2 centuries ago. Oy vey. Marshall considered the Constitution a living, breathing document. When I hear people say that, you know what I say to them? I say, all right, good. It's a living, breathing document. Well, I'm holding a poker game this Friday night. I want you to come over because I'm in charge of the rules, and they're going to be living, breathing rules. Bring lots of money. They never show up. Anyway, so does this judicial doctrine apply when a judge is a conservative or a strict constructionist or an originalist, defined as one who believes in interpreting the law based on words of the statute or of the Constitution? Justice Antonin Scalia called himself an originalist. Scalia in 2007 said, over the past 40 or 50 years, the philosophy of a living or evolving Constitution has become popular. It is enormously seductive. You think everything you care about passionately is there in the Constitution. That's how they gave us Roe in the 70s. Everything comes out the way you want it to. The Constitution is not an empty bottle to be filled up by each generation. Associate Justice Elena Kagan has spoken of the importance of public sentiment. Jesus Christ. All the libnuts, well, they're not libnuts, but all the liberals on the court, they don't believe in the spirit of the Constitution that formed a republic. They care more about pleasing the public by going against the Constitution.
Yeah, that's John Roberts.
Yeah, well, John Roberts in the beginning, you're right, but John Roberts in the beginning cared more, when he was first put in there, he cared more about the 3 branches of government getting along than he did about protecting and preserving the Constitution.
Yeah, he just wants to do something, whatever's going to cause the least amount of fuss.
Yeah,
is what he'll do.
She said, I'm not talking about any particular decision or even any particular series of decisions, but if over time the court loses all connection with the public and with public sentiment, that's a dangerous thing for a democracy. We don't live in a democracy. We live in a republic. Very different, right? A democracy is there's 3 guys and 2 voted that they get to keep everything the third guy has and beat the living shit out of him every Friday. That's a democracy. There's majority rules. There's no protection for the minority. In a republic, you have a constitution which protects the minority because everybody's supposed to live by the same rules. They never do, but, you know, a certain party with a D next to their name are always above the law, even though they're always bitching about people being above the law. Quote, she said, she added, overall, the way the court retains its legitimacy and fosters public confidence is by acting like a court, by doing the kinds of things that do not seem to people political or partisan. Yeah, but Oh my goodness. She just stepped on herself. Go ahead.
Yeah, wait. Come on. Does anybody just pop an aneurysm like I did reading that?
I did too.
I mean, by doing the kind of things that do not seem to people political or partisan.
She said in the beginning that she spoke of the importance of public sentiment. And then she goes down. Holy man.
Yeah. Oh my God.
It's just
is this tripping over your lady dick or what?
In other words, wow. In other words, the
Supreme Court, that one? You like that one?
I do. In other words, the Supreme Court, according to Kagan, should, to at least some degree, decide cases based on popular opinion rather than on the law as written or as intended by the legislature. Why bother with the Supreme Court? Let's just take a poll. They're right. Who wrote that? I like that. Oh, it was Larry Elder. Yeah. No wonder I like that. I like him. Yeah, and Kagan, when she was put on the court, because she was never a judge, never. Okay, she was put on the court because she was the Solicitor General when Obamacare came out, and in other words, when she's Solicitor General, she had to write the defense argument in case Obamacare was sued. She had to write the defense argument to say why it is constitutional, which it's not even close to being constitutional. Okay, it's a joke. And so when the case came to the court, she should have recused herself, but she didn't. And that's why I lost all respect for her because, plus she's a liberal, but I lost respect for her because she should have recused herself. She wrote the damn law that they were arguing before her court. That just
anybody who thinks the Constitution is flexible and open to whatever. Yikes! What did I do?
Because what you said, it was funny. What's up, Dawn?
Oh,
how you doing? Good to see you.
Anybody that thinks the Constitution is flexible and should be, interpreted based on no, they shouldn't be on the court.
Right. That's right. Here you go. Here's a good one. We dodged a bullet, guys. My goodness, did we dodge a bullet?
I was just looking at that one.
Yeah. Sad. Tim Walz says he's not going to run for president in 2028. Oh, no. Look at JD laughing. I love it. Right. Timmy just made, this is by Not the Bee, right? Timmy just made a major announcement that is sure to break the hearts of every Republican. Tampon Tim says he's not willing. Here we go. We're going to
things differently. Last two quick questions. First question that people would kill me if I didn't ask. You think about running in 2028?
I am not. And my job, and I say that, I am doing all I can to help build the party and make sure whoever that person is wins.
Well, we appreciate
And I think we need to flood the zone with people.
Wow. That's such a shame. My God. And you know what? I am truly upset because that would have been fun to pick on his ass.
Can you see JD Vance and him debating?
Unbelievable. Yeah. It would be wonderful.
I'll make the popcorn, you get the beer. It's going to be a party.
Yeah. Let me see what he say. I'm sorry. I'm not more eloquent tonight and able to articulate my position better. I've got some food poisoning while here. Are you really? Are you being serious? Where are you on vacation? Did you do a staycation? You're still at home?
Anyway, Bobby, don't get, too sorry. I think we're not far apart on
we're not at all.
The ideas. It's just that you got to be a little careful how you do these things.
No, but it needs to be amended. How about a balanced budget amendment? How about making sure illegals who give birth? Well, Trump's working on that one. Even though
that one we're working on.
Right. Even though a judge now get this, a judge federal district judge. Go ahead.
I got a point in there. The thing about what you said is you said it needs to be amended. Actually, allow me to respectfully disagree. It doesn't need to be amended. The fact is, the Constitution does not say you have birthright citizenship. It doesn't need to be amended. It needs to be followed. And you get a lot of people. It is currently, that is the interpretation by
people. It's a bad interpretation.
Courts. It is the interpretation. However, if you go and you read the 14th Amendment, and actually Rich and I have talked about this before, the 14th Amendment, there's a phrase in there, and it says, if you are subject to the jurisdiction, anybody born in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof.
Yes,
and that's
doctor.
that's the key phrase.
Yeah.
Subject to the jurisdiction. And if you are not subject to so if you're a foreigner,
right,
you're not subject to the jurisdiction, you're subject to the jurisdiction of your own country.
Right. That's exactly true.
No,
it's why I believe Barack Obama was born in Kenya because his grandmother, Nana Sarah, said so to reporters. All right. But I believe I was never a birther because he was an American because his mother was an American. She was subject to the jurisdiction of the United States. Therefore, he was. But if you're here illegally and you have a child on here, what's this? Nope. NYC rich. I don't know what that means. But what you call it? If you're here and you're here illegally, you are subject to the jurisdiction of your homeland. You're not subject to the jurisdiction here. And that's what that means. And the libnuts tried to argue it. I saw Pacman. I did a video about Pacman's stupidity on that. He tried to say that only meant that for diplomats. No, it was because there was a comma next sentence. They used commas to differentiate between clauses. One clause does not have anything to do with the other clause.
Yeah, and the thing is, if you're legally here, that's one thing. If you're not legally here, that's completely different.
Right.
We've talked about this. They say he was born in Hawaii, and his grandmother says he was born in Kenya.
Right. The grandmother, Nana Sarah, she was asked, "What do you think about your grandson who might become president of the United States, the first black president?" And she said, "Oh, we were so proud when he was born in my living room right here." And that's when you never heard from Nana Sarah again because the campaign went over and told her STFU. That's what they told her. Yeah, his own brother said he was born in Kenya, and his brother he crapped all over his brother. He didn't do anything for him. I mean, it was Hut Sweet Hut. Remember that whole thing instead of Home Sweet Home? He was living in Hut Sweet Hut. A little sign outside his hut.
Yeah, I think okay, we got redirected. I just wanted to finish my thought about the whole 14th Amendment thing. Birthright citizenship is for people who are here legally, and we've discussed this on the stream before with the
ARC case, the
ARC case where he was ruled that he was here legally because why? Because his parents were here legally and
they had green cards.
But and the thing that has not yet gone through the Supreme Court is what if you're here illegally?
Right.
And that is what is hopefully going to end up being decided. And if the court interprets what I feel any high school graduate should be able to read, then the birthright citizenship doesn't exist.
Right.
And if you have any doubt about my words, go to something called the Federalist Papers, because that explains the founders' thoughts when they.
They explained it there. But even Senator Howard, who introduced the 14th Amendment, he went up to the podium in the Senate, and he literally argued it. He said, "Look," he said, "we're going to." He goes, like he made fun of them. He says, "I don't know why we have to keep going over this because we talked about it before, but here we are." And he went on to say, I'm paraphrasing, of course. He went on to say that it does not mean that if a diplomat comes into the country and they have a child here, that child is. He said, no, it was basically for the children of slaves because they feared that the Democrats, the awful Democrats in states, would create laws that say that they were not citizens. And that's what they feared. Okay. So it was, you were subject to the jurisdiction of the United States, the parent, then the child is an American. But the Democrats years ago, they consider illegal aliens as unregistered Democrats.
So they're leaving out half the thought. And yeah, aren't we all? And the thing is, it's the same thing that applies to diplomats, because if you're here as a diplomat, You are not subject
Right.
to the jurisdiction of the
You
United
lived here
States.
for 20 years as a diplomat. You're not a citizen.
You're a citizen of your country, and you're subject to the jurisdiction
Let me
of
get
your
back
country.
to the ARC one, because a lot of people question that. And what that was the parents came here, they had their son, and they were given permanent status. Now, what that means is you now have a green card, and you're working toward becoming a citizen.
You're
But
here.
You're
You're
permanent
here legally.
citizen. Right.
Legally.
Being a permanent citizen means that you have proven to the court. It takes years to do this. You have proven to the court that you're not just here to make a buck and go home. You're not just here to go to school and take all that knowledge with you back to you. You are here permanently. You want to live here and contribute to our society, okay? And reap the benefits of it. So that's what permanent status means. It's the first, I mean, you went through it. It's the first step that you have towards becoming a citizen, right? So that ARC, he had to go back to China for, well, not back, he was born here. He had to go to China for something. And I think a family member or something went on. When he tried to come back in, they were like, no, you're not a citizen. You can't come in, because the United States back then was very anti-China at the time. They're very anti-China, and they made laws and all, but they said that no, you can't come back in, and so they said you're not a citizen, and so they took it all the way to the Supreme Court, and they won, because the judge said, well, yeah, if you're like it's and you know that case, Jade, cements the subject to the jurisdiction thereof argument, because the judge didn't say, well, you know, it's for anybody that drops a kid here, but if you're, you know, have a permanent residency status, you know, no, he basically said, look, it is primarily for parents who are subject to the United States jurisdiction. Translation, they're a citizen, right? So he was saying, we're going to add permanent resident status to that. And it became precedent. Why? Because nobody argued it. Nobody took it further. They didn't take it to the Supreme Court. So therefore, it became precedence. And you can't argue it now. I think it's been in place for too long. And the Supreme Court would just agree with it. Because what we wanted was people that we wanted to be here, that wanted to become a citizen, that wanted to assimilate to the American culture. And so when you have these people that just stand on one side of the line and are about to drop the kid, and they jump over the line, and now the kid's no, it does not work that way. It never did. But the Democrats tried to take advantage of it to build up.
Yeah, I mean, they used that decision and extrapolated inappropriately. So that's where it's been interpreted. But the bottom line is, no, we don't need to change the Constitution. We just need to go back and reread it.
Right. Yeah. So let me see what we got. I got one here I want to do.
How about that fun one about the one in red that I gave you today?
Which one?
It's the one in red. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down.
Oh, okay. California. Yeah, that's the one I was going to do.
Yeah, let's do that one. That's a fun one. Let's relax. Everybody, this is
yeah,
good.
Let's have fun on this one.
Yeah, this one's fun. You get
if
to
it
relax.
was a video, I would play the long lost clip of the week. All right, so this is New York Post. California legal immigrant faked ICE kidnapping at fast food joint for fundraiser scam as family pleaded for public help, DOJ. An illegal immigrant and mother was arrested. Oh, what the hell is it? An illegal immigrant and mother was arrested for staging a fake kidnapping, where I think the kid's name was Juicy. Anyway, where bounty hunters took her at gunpoint and tried forcing her to self-deport at a fast food restaurant. That's what they're saying. To scam people and smear federal law enforcement. Yuli Pelez Calderon, boy, there's a name, 41, was charged with conspiracy and making false statements to federal officers over the elaborate scheme on Thursday, according to the Department of Justice. Dangerous rhetoric that ICE agents are kidnapping illegal immigrants is being recklessly peddled by politicians and echoed in the media to inflame the public and discredit our courageous federal agents, said U.S. Attorney Billy, boy, I get these, Essley, I said in a statement. Doesn't it look like there's like a beam coming out of her head?
I was just going to say, I saw that earlier in the pictures, and it's like, what kind of
are they like two devil horns, but like she was drunk when she pulled them out? I don't know.
No, I think that's she's being interrogated by the CIA, and that's their
beam that sucks
brain
everything out of
beam.
their head. All right. The conduct alleged in today's complaint shows this hoax kidnapping was a well-orchestrated conspiracy. The hoax kicked off when Calderon's family and attorneys held a press conference on June 30, saying armed men ambushed her in 2 unmarked trucks at a Jack in the Box restaurant, because they always go to Jack in the Boxes, to ambush people in downtown Los Angeles. Her family claimed that the men brought Calderon to help me out, Bobby.
San Ysidro.
Thank you. Ysidro, where she was presented. Trust me, I can read, but these names are killing me. She was presented to a U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE, staffer, and presented with voluntary self-deportation paperwork. Sign it. The family's attorney claimed that Calderon refused to sign the paperwork and demanded to speak with a judge and a lawyer, but instead was punished and held in a warehouse, because that's where we keep them all. Following the media attention, Calderon's daughter created a GoFundMe page and requested $4,500. My name is Angeline Gonzalez, and my mother, Julia Pelez Calderon, what a name, was taken by masked men in an unmarked vehicle on June 25th. This is what... Do you have Democrats that are saying, well, they're kidnapping people off the street because of bullshit stories like this? Find my mother. Stop the abduction. Good Lord. The department... You now have Democrats out there saying that they're what was it? Jasmine Crockett, I think, said that they're now deporting U.S. citizens. How? You can't deport a U.S. citizen. The Department of Homeland Security vehemently denied the claims that the Los Angeles mother was abducted. DHS agents launched an investigation into the alleged kidnapping, spending days looking for Calderon, and at one point had ICE agents searching detention cell to detention cell, according to officials. Agents located Calderon in a shopping plaza parking lot in Bakersfield on January 5. Authorities stated that she continued to assert she had been kidnapped and held with others. All right. Calderon is seen on surveillance footage walking around after her family claimed she had been kidnapped. Yeah, she was kidnapped, but she's walking around all over the place. However, surveillance footage showed Calderon leaving a Jack in the Box parking lot and getting into a sedan, and telephone records also indicate the story was a hoax, according to the DOJ. Before the hoax was foiled, Calderon's family planned to hold another press conference on July 6th to increase donations for her GoFundMe. Unbelievable. They had also allegedly created fabricated photos of her rescue to make it appear as if she was abused by ICE agents. Julia, whatever her name is, was never arrested or kidnapped by ICE or bounty hunters. This criminal illegal alien scammed innocent Americans for money and diverted limited DHS. But you know what it really did was it made Trump's look bad, because everything anybody in the federal government does, they bring it back on Trump. Right? The agency then bashed politicians and activist media for peddling smears that were designed to demonize law enforcement and evade accountability. Calderon will now face justice, and the media and politicians who swallowed and pushed this garbage should be embarrassed. Yes, they most certainly should.
And what's a real brain trust here? She used her own cell phone to make phone calls to her family during the supposed time of the kidnapping, and that's how they were able to say she had been moving around. She was using her own cell phone.
Right. And here we go. We got the Officer Tatum. Someone sent this to me, and it's pretty good. Ready?
It's absolutely unequivocally out of control. And the craziest part of all of this is that the left is quiet.
This morning, the tense confrontation. Protesters attacking federal vehicles after immigration raids in California. The masked agents had shown up at a cannabis farm.
Meanwhile, when you look at this raid, there were 10 juveniles that were illegally brought across the border, and 8 of which were unaccompanied minors working illegally.
Rescuing children, I mean, it should be a nonpartisan issue. Everybody should be in lockstep on that, but they're not.
If a car is driving full speed and you are hurling rocks at the driver's side window, you're trying to make the rock go through the window and hit the ICE agent in the head.
Right.
You are trying to kill them. The left-wing Democrats, they were outraged at J6, outraged when Republicans say anything or do anything, and they are literally supporting, advocating, and acting as if they don't see it happening. when it comes to these murderous thugs who are trying to kill ICE agents. These people are crying about this grow farm and crying about ICE raids. They literally found 10 minors, illegal minors, working at an illegal marijuana grow farm. 8 of them were unaccompanied minors. That means they don't have an adult in sight that can be accounted for. These are random kids. They trafficking these kids. And then they making them work slave labor at an illegal grow farm. It's absolutely unequivocally out of control. And the craziest part of all of this is that the left is quiet.
They are. He's good. I like him a lot. He's a former police officer in Arizona. He's got a good thing going there. Good channel. It was AJ's farm. Yeah, that would be funny, wouldn't it, if it was AJ's farm? Does he still, Bobby? Does he still claim to work there? He works at a pot farm. He's in my brother's stream on my brother's channel. He's the resident retard. Yeah. So he's the movie soundtrack to Arrest Mama. Mama, don't take my mom. Let's see what else is next. We got. Maureen Comey.
Oh, yeah.
What's that?
Oh, yeah.
Which
Do
one?
the one about CBS. I need to feel better about myself.
CBS announces. Yeah, this is great. This is another, and I think I wrote. Did I write in there? This is a great story. Yeah, good story of the week. I have at the end there because it is. I mean, how could it not be when you guys hear this, right? Oh no! CBS announces it will end Stephen Colbert's show in May 2026 for financial reasons. Colbert confirmed the cancellation in Thursday's taping of his show, stating that he was notified of the change in programming on Wednesday night and that he shared the audience's disappointment. Yeah, you suck. That's why you're going.
I'm not disappointed. Are you disappointed?
Not at all. I always thought that he was not funny in the slightest, even before like they went all nuts during COVID, right?
Isn't he the one that made during? Are we allowed to say the name of the virus now?
Yeah.
On YouTube.
Yeah, you're allowed.
During the pandemic, he made this like very, very weird video, and there were like dancing syringes and.
Oh yeah, I saw that. Yeah. So CBS News on Thursday announced it will pull the plug on Stephen Colbert's Late Show next year, stating the decision was purely financial and not a reflection on the years-long host. Yeah, he couldn't bring in the money. He didn't have enough sponsors putting enough money up to be able to pay for the show. But it's not a reflection on the years-long host. The iconic program, the shitty program, which has been around for 10 seasons, will also be the last of the network's Late Show franchise. How about that? They're giving up the Late Show thing. You know why? Because they're not funny anymore. The network started its late night programming in 1993 after landing David Letterman, according to Variety. He was only there from 93. How about that? I thought it was longer than that. The Late Show with Stephen Colbert will end its historic run in May 2026 at the end of the broadcast season, the company said in a statement. We consider Stephen Colbert irreplaceable, therefore we got rid of him. All right, and will retire the Late Show franchise at that time. We are proud that Stephen called CBS home. He and the broadcast will be remembered in the pantheon of greats that graced late night television. He was not one of the great. I'm sorry.
Good Lord.
You know what?
Flaring. This is flaring up. This could flare up people's diabetes.
I know. Seriously. I thought David Letterman, when he first started, was hilarious.
Yeah, I really did. David Letterman.
I loved him. Yeah, I really did. I loved him a lot. But then he became this old, miserable, cranky liberal when he got older and grew the beard. You know, kind of like Howard Stern. Howard Stern was always raunchy, but he was hilarious. And I remember the first day I woke up, the first day he brought, because I had no idea who this guy was, and I hear him say, Philadelphia, you're in for the worst nightmare of your life, the Howard Stern Show. And I'm like, who the hell's that? And then I listened to him for like 10 years. But then he too became an old, bitter, cranky libnut. Same thing. This is purely a financial decision against a challenging backdrop in late night. It is not related in any way to the show's performance. Yeah, the ratings suck. Content or other matters happening at Paramount. Colbert confirmed the cancellation Thursday's taping of his show, stating that we already read that. It's not just the end of our show, it's the end of the late night show, the Late Show, on CBS. I'm not being replaced, he assured the audience. This is all just going away. And I do want to say that the folks at CBS have been great partners until they fired my ass. I'm so grateful to the Tiffany Network for giving me this chair and this beautiful theater to call home. And of course, I'm grateful to you, the audience, who have joined us every night. Yeah, okay.
So they kicked your ass. They kicked your ass out.
Even when he behaved like a conservative, that's what he did for a long time. He was trying to be funny and make fun of. He was not funny. He was never funny. Well, apparently he was in jail with his mobile phone. Who was that? Letterman was. Yeah, he was great in the 80s. Yeah, don't make him laugh, bigot.
Bobbity, are you having some fun?
Yeah, well, he's having pain. I know that.
Yeah, he's laughing too much, he says.
Food poisoning sucks. NPR became a liberal rag. That's true. Karine Jean-Pierre appeared at House cover-up probe. Yep. Let's see. Scott Jennings. Yeah, Scott Jennings said that he's the guy on CNN. Said that if Trump asks him to, he will run to replace McConnell. I would love to see that. Let me see something.
Is Scott Jennings from Kentucky?
I believe so. Yeah, I believe he is. Let's see. NPR became a liberal rag, undeserving of federal funding. Yeah, it's a good one too. Let's see. Which
UK's. What about the UK?
UK's secret scheme? Oh,
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you guys are going to love this.
Yeah,
you guys probably already know about it, but until I read it, I didn't know the thing about it. But
yeah, you guys across the pond, you're going to like this one if you
UK's
don't know already.
secret scheme to import thousands of Afghans was just made public. Like, you don't have enough. I mean, London, I always say London used to be the white man factory. That's where white people were invented, right? Now, I would probably get arrested if I was over there saying that. That's how bad it is. All right, I know you guys know for sure. It's been crystal clear since the big COVID con that the globalists aren't playing around. They're playing for keeps. Their Great Reset plan isn't some tinfoil hat conspiracy theory. It's actually happening in real time, and they're not even hiding it. Well, actually, they are, and here's why. The elites just realized they can't push their reset plan openly anymore without some major backlash. So now they're shifting gears and operating in the shadows. And what's happening in the UK right now is a perfect example of that quiet behind-the-scenes tyranny. It turns out that the UK government set up a secret program to bring in thousands of Afghans, all under the radar and under the guise of some data breach. They claim they accidentally leaked their personal info on one of the worst data breaches in modern British history. Now, these tens of thousands of folks have to stay in the UK because, oh no, they might be in danger from the Taliban. So now we have to fly them all to London. Was this just another convenient oops, or was the data breach just some excuse to flood the country with even more foreigners? That's what many think happened, and you can't blame them. Either way, the result is the same, a shady relocation scheme approved in the dark, protected by a lawless super injunction to gag the media and keep British citizens in the dark. God, man, you guys, I thought we had it bad. Ooh. Prayers. For reals.
Hey, Linda,
our stylish summer fashion trends.
Linda, you can pull up her comment there. Yeah. I appreciate your faith. You can post a general medical consultation. You do realize that I am firmly retired, though.
Yeah.
And
well,
anything.
Just retired. You still know your shit.
Yeah, I know what's going on, but anything I say is to be taken as for entertainment value only.
Yeah, that's actually like part of the law. She has to tell you that. She ain't just making it up.
Basically, I am a physician, but I am not your physician, and any medical advice is to be considered as a general item and not as any sort of specific advice.
Right. In Canada, they're all Zoom. Really? Zoom doctors now. Wow.
Well,
yeah.
There is a lot of
I know,
that.
Sheila.
Yeah, we do it here too.
Yeah. All right. So next, Trump pulls the plug on Gavin Newsom. Yeah, this thing. Oh my God, this thing in California, this high-speed rail.
Oh Lord.
Billions and billions of dollars. Nothing has ever been done, ever. And now they're complaining. Trump pulls the plug on Gavin Newsom's high-speed rail. So, and he's bitching. Like, what do you have to show for it? Well, nothing, but you can't pull that. All right. Secretary of Transportation Sean Duffy announced Wednesday that the U.S. government had given California 30 days to show cause why federal support for its high-speed rail project shouldn't cease. In a press release with the subhead, "It's time for this boondoggle to die," Duffy laid out. U.S. Transportation announced the federal approximately $4 billion in unspent federal funding for California's high-speed rail boondoggle. After 16 years and roughly $15 billion spent, not one high-speed track has been laid by the California High-Speed Rail Authority. The $135 billion projected total cost of the project could buy every San Francisco and LA resident nearly 200 round flights between cities. This is California's fault. Governor Gavin Newsom and the complicit Democrats have enabled this waste for years. Federal dollars are not a blank check. They come with a promise to deliver results, and they do audits. After over a decade of failures, mismanagement and incompetence has proven it cannot build its train to nowhere on time or on budget. Duffy said, "It's time for this boondoggle to die. President Trump and I will always fight to ensure your tax dollars only go to projects that accomplish great, big, beautiful things." I love how they're incorporating that now. Big, beautiful everything.
And so here's the question. $15 billion, Rich, where do you think most of that $15 billion ended up?
I would say in the pockets of illegals and the hotels that you got to put them up in, and paying for the schools that you got to hire extra teachers that speak Spanish only, because God forbid they learn to speak English.
And what about lining the pockets of the
oh yeah, that goes without saying.
That goes without saying.
Yeah. I just found out that I didn't know this, and the person could have lied to me, but most Mexicans know how to speak English because their government years ago said you have to learn English in school because we're on the border of the most important English-speaking country. Sorry, England. And so I started thinking about that, and I'm like, well, okay, so if that's true, that all these illegals that we hear that don't know English, they can't be from Mexico, can they? Right? Talking to you, Jay.
There's something going on with your video.
Did you have a stroke?
There's something going on with you.
Oh, there you go. Now I hear you.
Can you hear me? There was something going on with your video.
I can hear you, but you're off. Yeah, you're off. Hang on. I'm going to leave and come back. All right? I'm going to leave and come back.
We're alone. How about that? What do we do where Rich is away? I don't know.
Okay, how do I sound now?
Okay, I can hear you now.
Yeah, there was something going on where your lips were moving, but you weren't saying anything.
Yeah, and you were like skipping and doing weird things. So
Mr. 42 is in the house, guys. Say hello. 42. I almost emailed you today because I wrote a song in written like British songs today. I did it in Suno, and I didn't want to step on your toes because of your song, but I did a song on eating the bugs. I did, and it actually came out pretty good. But I thought you'd get a kick out of it if you wanted to hear it. I can play it now if you want to. But let me know. Otherwise, I'll send it to you. I'll send you the link to it afterwards in email after the stream. But I thought it was pretty good. It came out good. I was just curious if I could do one, and it came out actually pretty good. So, but I like your music because it actually tells a story as you watch. Yeah, sometime, Jade, you should go to one. He has his streams. It would be 5:30 my time, so I guess it'd be 3:30 your time on Saturday nights.
Yeah, correct? I haven't watched it. Sorry, 42. I'm told you're great. I haven't gotten over there. I know you're out there.
I learn something every time I go and watch. But the problem is for me is that usually at that time I have something else that I have to do. And so what I this is true, 40. I actually set a reminder on my Google Hub that says 10 minutes before the show, 40 is about to start. But half the time I'm not in front of my desk when it goes off.
Yeah, so that would be that would be a difficult. That would be a difficult time for me too. So
yeah.
Do we want to hear anything more
going on?
Do we want to hear anything more about Obama?
Why? Which one is it?
Obama angers everyone.
Oh yeah, well that's the one. Oh yeah. Horrendous move against Trump. There you go.
I don't think we read that one. We read something else about Obama.
Yeah, we didn't. I'll let me bring that up. All right. Obama angers everyone with horrendous move against Trump. Former President Barack Hussein Milhouse Benito Obama slammed major law firms for bowing to the Trump administration to safeguard their careers and bankroll their lavish lifestyles. Like they didn't do that for Obama, right? Obamacare was totally constitutional. It was because we said so, right? Speaking at a private fundraiser in New Jersey on Friday, Obama voiced frustration that some of the nation's top legal institutions had set aside the law in response to President Donald Trump. I hate these pop-ups. Trump's actions, Business Insider reported. Obama said some lawyers were giving way to Trump not because they were going to be thrown in jail, but because they might lose a few clients and might not be able to finish the kitchen rehab at their Hampton house. I'm not impressed, Obama said on MSNBC. Obama's connection to big law date back to his time at Harvard Law School, where he spent a summer as an associate at Sidley and Austin after his first year. That's when he got, it's Chicago, and that's when he got into the whole, what was it? It was, I can't remember what it was, but it was the thing that led to the 2008 crash. All right. And he was actually involved in that in a way as a lawyer. Before launching his political career, he practiced civil rights law at the Chicago-based litigation firm Minor, Barnhill, and Gallen. Dewey, Screwham, and Howe. Business Insider noted. Since February, Trump has signed executive orders targeting major law firms such as Paul Weiss, Perkins Coie should go down in flames, and Covington and Burling. The orders accused these firms of weaponizing the judicial system. Look, Perkins Coie, that's where what's his name? Damn, I'm terrible with names tonight. He's the guy that he went around. He went around in 2020, and then he did it in 2024. Mark Elias, that's who I'm talking about. Mark Elias is the Democrat scumbag lawyer whenever they want to steal an election. He's the one that he sent his team of lawyers into all these states, the swing states, and went to their Supreme Court to argue against certain things in the legislature's election laws. And he judge shopped and got left-wing lawyers, and they all threw out election law. And it's like in Pennsylvania, he did it too. He's the one that got the Supreme Court in Pennsylvania 7-2 Democrats, right? He got them to change election law where they extended 3 days to the deadline of when mail-in ballots were allowed to be accepted. And the reason why they did that, well, first of all, it's illegal because the Constitution, Article 1, Section 4 says only the legislature can do that. Now, the executive branch or the judiciary can't, but they did it because they had to know how many votes they needed to get Biden to win. So they figured 3 days was enough to have the phony ballots moved in enough so that they could count them. That's why they did that. So anyway, they should just go down, right? The orders accused these firms of weaponizing the judicial system, revoked their security clearances, and triggered reviews of their government contracts.
Perkins Coie, they're Hillary's law firm.
Yes, Perkins Coie.
Yeah.
Coie. Yeah. They're the ones. Hillary, now let's get into it. It was Hillary, it was the DNC, and it was Barack Obama. They pooled their money. Hillary put the most in, but altogether, they gave Perkins Coie, they gave them $9 million. Perkins Coie then took that money and hired Fusion GPS. Fusion GPS took some of the money and hired Christopher Steele. Christopher Steele took some of that money, and he went out and bribed and paid phony Russian FSB agents who gave garbage information about Trump. And then Fusion GPS hired Nellie Orr, who was the wife of the then Deputy Attorney General, or the Executive Assistant Deputy Attorney General, whatever, Bruce Orr, to write the thing, right? So the whole thing was left-wing and government involved, the whole Russia bullshit. And that's Perkins Coie. So no wonder Trump wants to go after him, because they broke the law. They did things that were just horrible. And plus you got Mark Elias, who's represented in there, going around trying to change election laws. Some firms, including Paul Weiss and Kirkland and Ellis, opted to cooperate, agreeing to provide pro bono legal work for conservative causes. Others, like Perkins Coie and Wilmer Hale, there's another one. That was Bob Mueller. Bob Mueller, when he retired as I think he was the FBI director when he retired from government service. And Wilmer Hale snatched him up, not because he's a brainchild, because he's obviously not, but because of his connections in D.C., right? He knows all the judges, everybody at FBI, obviously, and yada, yada. So they hired him for that. Now, Wilmer Hale, their number one client was the CCP, the government of China, okay? And they used to brag on their website about all the trade deals they secured for them, to the detriment of America, right? Wilmer Hale, the big law firm down in D.C., was bragging that they got China better trade deals against America than for America. All right. So now all of a sudden, there's this guy who's out there in the media, and he's the only one talking about it, but he won't shut up. And every show he does, he spends a few minutes saying that Wilmer Hale, that they got this guy who works for them. And his name is Bob Mueller. And Bob Mueller is now going to become the special prosecutor against Trump. But Wilmer Hale was only doing it because their number one client, China, called them and said, you want us to be your client, you better do something and take this motherfucker out. And who was the motherfucker they were talking about? This guy comes along, he comes down this golden escalator, and he gives a speech saying he's running for president. Oh, and by the way, he's going to destroy China with their trade deal because they were taking advantage of us. This is why they got Mueller in there. He took a leave of absence from Wilmer Hale, and he goes in to become special prosecutor to work for Wilmer Hale, technically, for their client. Now, this other guy that's doing the radio broadcast every single day and TV broadcast saying that this is what's going on, well, all of a sudden, he gets deplatformed everywhere. It started with Facebook. He gets deplatformed, thrown off. It was Alex Jones. Now, why was he thrown off all these things? Well, Wilmer Hale's second largest client was Facebook. It was Meta. So the Chinese contacted Meta through Wilmer Hale and said, get him off social media. This guy's like saying everything we're doing, because China didn't like that. Their whole scam was going to be aired. So now you know why the whole Russia thing had to have a special counsel. Now, and it's good that it's at least good that unlike Jack Smith, Mueller wasn't a scumbag liar who just made things up out of whole cloth. He was just incompetent, because I think he had a little dementia going on there. So sorry for that. I digress. So Wilmer Hale, they pushed back and filed lawsuits challenging the administration's actions, the outlet said. In his remarks, Obama criticized universities that opted to strike compromises with the Trump administration. Now, let me say this. These same universities always did compromises with Obama. I mean, think about the school system down in Florida that caused I would say the Marjorie Stone school shooting that David Hogg became famous from, right? Wasn't even there. It was because the Obama administration tried to stop what they called the school to pipeline or to prison pipeline. So they cut a deal with the counties down there and said, if you get you get your police, okay, your school district will make a ton of money in grants if you contact your police that you work with around the school area, and you tell them not to charge for certain crimes of the juveniles in your school district. So in other words, instead of like putting money in to teach them, hey, dipshit, don't rob people, don't do carjackings, don't do drugs, stuff like that. No, just don't report those crimes. So when he says that they opted to strike compromises, that was a hell of a compromise. And the kid that did that shooting of all those people in the school, there were I think it were 23 times police were called to his house because he either brandished his weapons. He had a lot of guns. So he either brandished them or he was firing them in the backyard, like he was shooting at targets and stuff, which is illegal in the city limits because obviously, right, you can harm someone. So, I mean, Obama doesn't have a leg to stand on, but Obama's alma mater, Columbia University, which nobody remembers him either going to or being there. Nobody. Ultimately yielded to the Trump administration's demands after facing a $400 million cut in federal funding. Now, they're going to bitch about that, but what did the Democrats do for the last 100 years? Well, we're going to cut your highway funds if you don't do X, Y, and Z. I mean, that's what they did. The administration said the funding was slashed due to the university's failure to address anti-Semitism amid campus protests over Israel's war in Gaza. If your core value is to teach, you may teach without compromising values of academic independence. Yeah, you may lose some grant money temporarily. That's why you have to lose those. That's why you have those big endowments, Obama said. Now, on that, he's right. But we don't have to read the rest of it. He's right about that. They should use the endowments instead of sucking our tax dollars.
Hear to that one.
Oh, yeah. Is Leanne here? Hey, what's up, Leanne? How you doing, girlfriend? What's going on down in Alabama? You can come on if you want. I'll give you the link. Let me put it here. I'm going to copy it. Can you come in? Because I'll give you the link. We always like to hear from Roll Tide, Miss Leanne. There you go.
So are we going to indict Fauci, do you think?
I think so. Because, we have one on that.
Yep, that's what I was just looking at it.
Yeah.
I don't know if I didn't read it in advance.
Well, Rand Paul is pushing for it, obviously, because he and Fauci went at it. So let's
Rand Paul has a real thing for Fauci, for sure.
Yeah, he does. And it's not good. Let's see.
So here's the one right below that, actually, about Brigitte Macron. I've heard that she's like 25 years older than
she's a man.
he is.
She's a man.
Well, where did that come from?
What? Where she's a man?
Yeah.
Oh, well, a lot of people said that the people in France knew it all these years and didn't care. All right, but Candace Owens has been really big on this, and she went out and got the goods, and she proved it right. What's this? Got a hold of your brain, and sometimes why? What am I talking about? Well, she is a man, but what's called it turns out that Candace this is the funny part. Candace was on Piers Morgan one time, not long ago, and she kept saying it. And she said, "Look, I did my research, and here's her birth certificate. It was a guy's name on it, and what's called. And so they had their own Obama over there, right? So he said, "Oh, how about we make a wager?" He goes, "I will wager £100,000. We'll put that in U.S. dollars. I think it was like $134,000 at the time, right, for the wager." And she took him up on it. And so just recently, she wrote an article and a video called Deja Dude. And she had all the evidence, and she just put it out there.
And it seems convincing?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. She has it all. She's the one that did the other one on, who was it? It was Kamala's Family.
I remember that.
In that book, yeah. Well, she did the same role on Macron's husband. Yeah. She did the same thing. Plus, I mean, did you see the punch to the face on the airplane?
Well, it was kind of a slap.
Well, knocked him back. The slap was a slap, but the punch was when he came out beforehand, and he walked towards her, and she slapped him.
Yeah, I think the hand was open. It did.
No. That's the slap. There was a slap and the punch. You didn't see the punch, but you saw the ramifications. He came out like this, and then he stood there and he waved. Then he started walking towards her. And I think he was saying, "Look, people are watching." And she smacked him. But apparently the punch. I mean, What woman could punch a man? I don't care if he's noodle arms like him, but punch a man and he gets blown back like that. I mean, that's evidence enough for me, apparently. Yeah, but anyway, so she did the deed and ran that story and the video. It was a long video, though. All right, so let's go with. I don't know how we got onto that. So let's see. All right. Rand Paul says the best way to test the AutoPen pardon is to indict Fauci. Exactly. It's been, you know why? Because I'll bet I haven't read it, but I'll bet they say because it'll go through the courts and they're going to say in the courts that it's not legal to do that because the power of the pardon is absolute. But wait, it's been a long time coming, hasn't it? The idea of Anthony Fauci actually facing justice for everything he did. Guys, he killed millions of people around the world. Lying to Congress, covering up the origins of COVID, pushing lockdowns and mandates while he played both sides. And the vaccine lies has felt almost impossible in this upside-down country where elites seem to get away with murder, which is why we're all mad about the Epstein thing. All right, I digress. But Senator Rand Paul has never given up on taking Fauci down, rightfully so. And now with the whole AutoPen pardon scandal blowing up and Fauci being at the very center of that, Rand just laid out a simple plan to put it all on the table and test those flimsy pardons. Indict Fauci. Let him try to use that shady pardon, then fight it out in court. Pretty smart, right? In a video clip, is the video here? Yeah, let's do it.
The only way we could actually get this into court is hopefully the DOJ would do their job, indict Anthony Fauci for the felony of lying to Congress, and then take it to court, and then they can plead that he has been pardoned, but then the court could judge whether the pardon is valid.
Right.
So the only way we get this into court
is
right. Someone who's been pardoned will have to be indicted, and I would promote that Anthony Fauci is a prime specimen for this.
So I believe
prime specimen for this. You gotta love it. Let me see. What do we got here? Did it with the AIDS epidemic. I think he was involved in that. I think he was. Fauci lied millions. Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, let's see. Yeah, Bridget McCrone transitioned to a woman surgery, but yeah, I heard the surgery was there because Candace did it. She talked about it. Went to teach at a boys' school, fell in love with a young boy. That was his own son. The most troubling aspect of the story. Wait a minute. Fell in love with. Wait a minute. Wait, you're saying Macron's wife fell in love with Macron, but that was her son or his son? Huh? I don't get that.
What I understand is she's like 25 years older than he, and she was a teacher, and he was her student, and it just went on from there.
But he's saying he says yes, he's confirming, and I believe Bobbity. He's confirming.
I haven't heard that.
He's saying that Macron was the son of the teacher. I never heard that.
No,
yeah, watch the entire. Yeah, okay, yeah. Because you're right. I didn't watch the whole thing. I watched a lot of it, and it was damn good. And I was gonna play it here, but it was long, and I didn't think anybody'd really be that interested in it. Because after all, it's about France. Yeah. The only French I know is "We surrender." That's it. I don't know any other French. So let's see. Ted Cruz. Yeah, Ted Cruz. This is a good one too.
You know how to identify French soldiers?
How?
They're the ones with the sunburned armpits.
There you go. That's pretty good. Ted Cruz says Biden accidentally undermined his own defense of AutoPen scandal. Republican Senator Ted Cruz of Texas dropped a bomb on the Democrats' denial about the AutoPen scandal and argued that many of the decisions ascribed to the former president could be null and void. Cruz made the statements on his podcast as congressional Republicans continue their investigation into the claims that former President Joe Biden's health condition prevented him from officially making decisions attributed to him by staff. Biden has come out to publicly address the controversy and deny the allegations, but Cruz argues that his denial actually undermines his argument. Quote, I think the Trump White House needs to go through the records and examine what specifically has a paper trail that showed Biden signed off on the specific action. And those that there is no paper trail, that there is no evidence, those are null and void. That would be 8,000 pardons. He did 8,000 pardons. Damn. He cited an explanation made by Biden and his aides to the New York Times on the process of issuing pardons by autopen. Quote, Mr. Biden did not individually approve each name for the categorical pardons that applied to large numbers of people. He and aides confirmed, the Times reported, rather than individually consider each. Can anybody think he's going to go, all right, let me look at this whole stack of stuff in case of attack? I mean, do you really think he read all that or even listened to somebody to say why this person should have a pardon? No. He pardoned one guy. Well, whoever did the autopen pardoned one guy. I think he was in prison. He murdered 2 little girls, like viciously, and they pardoned him. What? So let's see.
The only pardon that I think we're pretty sure he signed Hunter was for Hunter.
Well, now they're saying no, that was autopen as well. They said, well, we saw him sign it. No, you didn't.
I thought that one we saw him sign.
No.
I mean, I don't care one way or the other, but
we heard people say we saw him sign. I didn't see him sign it.
I thought
normally they don't show a president signing a pardon unless, well, now they could have if it's Hunter because that's his kid, right? And the fact that he major lied because he said for like an entire 2 years, every time they asked him, you going to pardon Hunter? No. He kept saying no. I'll just see where the case goes and we'll go from there. But no, I'm not going to pardon him. Right? All right. Rather than individually consider each case, Biden drew up criteria for pardons, and the Bureau of Prisons provided a list of people who met the requirements he set out. This one's breathing. Yeah, that's the requirement. The staff then signed the pardons through autopen, which they saw as a routine procedure, according to the account in the Times. It's not a routine procedure. The United States has to sign. It's like an executive order, or can you imagine executive orders and signing a bill by autopen? Come on. A pardon's just as important. There's one person in the world who has a federal U.S. pardon power, and he has to be there. He has to know what he's signing. Cruz argues this means that the pardons were improperly signed and should be challenged. Quote, those have no legal force. And my recommendation to Attorney General Pam Bondi and the Department of Justice is they should look specifically at the most vulnerable and devise and implement a legal challenge to challenge these and make clear that an unelected aide running an autopen does not have the power to grant a pardon under the United States Constitution. Show me where he's wrong. For reals. Let's see. Hey, Chris. Biden did sign the pardon for Hunter. It was legit. Yeah, but did he understand what he was signing? We don't know that. The French are an ancient people, long since beaten down by evil. Their country overridden with invaders. But at least we got croissants. We got French fries, too, which I understand have nothing to do with the French, but still.
No, French fries, weren't they? They're from Belgium.
Yeah, I don't know. I heard a comedian one time say, he goes, I was in a restaurant in England. I asked for an English muffin. They never heard of them.
Ask for a crumpet. It's different, but at least you'll get something.
Yeah.
But I understand that one of the worst places to ever visit would have been medieval Palace de Versailles, like Louis XIV and whatnot, because it was considered that water was damaging to your health. And none of these people took baths.
Right.
The women had all this long hair, and when your hair was dirty, you just sprayed more perfume on it. So,
oh wow!
And then around the castle,
this is where they get the term the French whore bath.
Yeah, and then they had these special combs because their hair and wigs were infested with lice. So they had these special combs that they could go in and scratch.
Yeah.
And then people would wander around the castle and just piss on the walls and God knows what. Just
Chris,
squat down and do whatever they had to do.
I just asked the AI, and it says, in the final days of his presidency, Joe Biden utilized an autopen to sign numerous pardons and commutations, including a blanket pardon for his son, Hunter Biden. However, the pardon specifically for Hunter Biden was handwritten and not signed by AutoPen. Okay, so he did. Now, why did they make it seem like, including a blanket pardon for, it's important to note the distinction. While many of the numerous pardons issued at the end of the term were signed via AutoPen, Hunter Biden's specific pardon was personally signed by the president. All right, well, then that's the one that's legit.
That's what I understand.
But I heard recently, though, and it's not like AI would be wrong, but I heard recently, I read something where they said, no, there were 3 AutoPens that were used. We thought 2, but now they found a third one, and they're saying they believe that's the one that was used for Hunter's his pardon. But it doesn't matter. Nothing's going to happen to them because they're Democrats. What if Hunter Biden signed his own pardon in his father's name? Yeah, that could happen. Because you remember, Hunter Biden was paying his father $49,670 per month to live in the house that Hunter owned. What? Yeah, he did. That was part of the money laundering scam. They claimed Joe Biden owned the house in Delaware, the mansion. Well, actually, Hunter has gone around saying that he owned the house. All right? So in order to launder the money, he said, oh, yeah, $49,670 a month I'm going to pay for rent. Okay. Tell an Englishman, yeah, we can't use that word. Woo. Can't use that word.
Yeah, you got to be careful.
Yeah,
you got to be careful about that word.
And we get kicked off. Yeah. So I know you didn't know that. But let's see. What else is there? House Oversight of Chair. The odds of calling. Yeah, Jill Biden's going to be called for the whole AutoPen thing. Oh, yeah, this is great. This is great. Ready?
She's going to do the same as everybody else and take the 5th.
Let me get my my X post first, because I posted to this guy. Let me see. Come on. Where am I? Here we go. Okay. What the hell? More. Jesus. Okay.
What are we looking for?
I'm looking for an X post that I did. Just hang on. I'm going to get to it. I promise. So it was because the next story I'm going to read. Here it is. Cool. All right. So I'm going to read the story first. It's great. This is great. All right. So let's do the share screen. And rock legend just canceled entire North American tour for the most idiotic reason imaginable. Look who it is. Steve Miller. All right. Well, then it seems like legendary rocker Steve Miller has decided to take the money and run. See what I did there? Miller, frontman for the American rock band bearing his name in the late 60s, along with the rest of the group and their crew, have announced the cancellation of an entire 2025 North American tour. 31 scheduled events down the drain. Why? Was one of the band members suffering from a health issue, technical difficulties, scheduling conflicts? Nay. You're not going to believe this, but the Steve Miller Band has dropped it due to climate change. Their instincts, you see, are the motivating factor in deciding that, according to Variety. Quote, climate change-induced weather disasters are simply too much of a threat to the tour and their fans. You make music with your instincts. You live life by your instincts. Always trust your instincts, the band wrote on a statement. The Steve Miller Band has canceled all of our upcoming. All right. Okay. So I'm going to share this one instead. So there's the letter, right, that he wrote. So I wrote, wow, I used to be a huge Steve Miller fan right up until he decided to cancel a tour because the weather hurt his feelings. If climate change dictates your business decisions, maybe it's time to stop calling it rock and roll and start calling it virtue signaling unplugged. And notice I have 2 responses. Bingo. Never knew Steve. He was afraid. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I am not very popular on X. I wonder why.
You know what? My comment to
really?
that story is,
all right.
Who cares?
Yeah, really.
There's, Steve Miller is not that wonderful.
No, he's not. He really isn't.
Okay. And I don't care how good you are. Why would I, I'll go and listen to a good band, but why would I give a shit if a band doesn't want to come? Like, screw you.
Oh, I know.
Screw you. I'm not going to go and slash my wrists because of anything, They don't want to come here. That's on them.
That's right. Let me get the best one. All right, here's one. I did several versions of this. So hold on. So I'm going to play this. I got to bring it up. Share the screen. All right, here it is. Eat the bugs, no thanks. Here we go.
They sit in the towers, sipping the tea, deciding our fate like it's all a decree. Eat the bugs, mate, it's for the planet's good. But I'm not a cow and this ain't my food. Do they think we're blind? Do they think we're fools? No thanks, no way, not me. Won't munch on the bugs you decree. I'll grow my garden, I'll bake my bread, keep your crickets, I'll eat steak instead. They show us charts, they wag their fingers, save the earth, but the guilt still lingers. They fly their jets, they feast on gold, while they tell us we'll love our bugs cold. Do they think we'll bow? Do they think we'll break?
Yes, they do.
No thanks, no way, not me. I won't munch on the bugs you decree. I'll grow my garden, I'll bake my bread, keep your crickets, I'll eat steak instead.
Okay, I got one more, and then I won't bother you guys with it again. But I like this version too. All right, here we go. I was going to send like 4 of them before it go. Which one?
Down from the suits on high. Eat the bugs, they said, don't ask why. Slimy crawling, their plans a lie. No crown, no throne, just dirt to buy. We're not cattle, we're not drones. We got teeth, we got bones. No bugs for kings, no grubs for queens. Keep your larvae, your dystopian dreams. We won't bow, we won't chew. This fight's for steak and me and you. They spin their charts, they cry of doom. Buzzing futures a protein tomb. But I've got bread, I've got stew. You've got nerve, so fight it too. Crunching shells, the banquet's planned. In their hands, all I stand. What's next? The dirt, the sand. Take your worms, leave our land. No bugs for kings, no grubs for queens. Keep your larvae, your dystopian dreams. We won't bow, we won't chew. This fight's for steak and me and you. No bugs for kings, no grubs for queens. Keep your larvae, your dystopian dreams. We won't bow, we won't chew. This fight's for steak and me and you.
All right. What do you guys think?
It's clever.
Yeah. It's a soundtrack to the Revelation Billy Blank. Yeah. Couldn't be worse than current pop music. Exactly. Yeah. I write the lyrics, but then I go in. I have good. I'm glad you said that, man. I was hoping you'd be up, or hoping you wouldn't be upset that I wrote a song about the bugs because I love your version, man. Interesting, cool. Yeah, I was going to send you 4 links to 4 different versions of it, but then I thought, yeah, I don't know. But anyway, yeah, what I do is I write the words myself, but then I throw it in there and I tell it. I have what you can do is you can go into AI and you can say you can't, they won't let you say do it like the Kinks or whatever. If you try to do it after a singer or a band, they'll go, nope, we're not doing that, right? Because they could get sued. So I don't want to do that. But you can ask AI, a different AI, not Suno, but you can ask them, give me the particulars of what makes this band sound like this. And so they tell you, like they describe what type of music it is, what they're known for, and all that, right? And then you can work that into your prompt, and it takes like 3 or 4 times, some longer, some shorter, but it takes 3 or 4 times to get it out to what you think it is. Yeah, they're already getting sued, but they're getting sued because they did something really stupid, and they got this I can't remember his name, but he's a real big rap artist, and he's their technical consultant. And he did what they did. What they did is they had this thing where they said that you can remaster songs, but what's going on? Thanks, man. Yeah, I have a Jabberhouse Media LLC is my channel that I do the music on. But what they did is they said that you can take someone else's song and rearrange it. Yeah, that's who it is. You're right. Special K Timberland. And they said that you can rearrange it. In other words, like the industry for years said that if you change every 7th beat to a song, that it's no longer the song. Well, you and I both know it is, right? And so what Suno did is they did something a little slightly different. They had different patterns to how they were going to change it. I don't like that at all. And so they had a lot of there's a woman lawyer. She's one of the top music lawyers in the industry, and she has a channel, and I've been watching her channel. She's pretty cool. She's young and she's sharp as a tack. Yeah, it is theft. You're right. It's theft when you steal shit like that. But I think making AI music, I don't think that in itself is theft. But no, I don't think that's her. I'll find it for. Yeah, I don't think that's her. It's a dark haired chick, but she's got like a little color in her hair. She's thin, has glasses. She's very on the ball too. She's sharp as a tack, but she's suing Suno herself, not on behalf of clients, but not because they were robbed. She wants to know the inside algorithm and what it's allowing them to do, and they wouldn't make that public, so she's suing them to get them to force them to give it. So it won't be the downfall of them, but they got to take that out. I mean, nobody agrees with that. If you're stealing somebody else's work, that's plagiarism. You're just stealing. Top music attorney. That's her class action lawsuit. Is that her? All right. I didn't know that was her name. I thought it was something else. But yeah. So, oh, thanks. Yeah, it comes out all right. That's how I do my intros here. I write the words myself. I don't use AI to write my words. So I write my words because that would be totally like, what the hell? So I write my own words, but then I put it in and I tell it what genre I want. And they also allow you to create a personality. So if you have a song that comes out and you like the way the singer sounds, you can use him for everything else, is what you can do. And AI models are all different types. Yeah. Well, I use Facebook's, but it's on my PC only. There's no connection to the internet, which kind of sucks because I could add it to it, but why? They have the Llama series. That's what it is. What's that? The distribution platforms are stealing your music with. Yeah, you're right. And you know what? I had said that 2025, I don't know how I was spot on with this, but I had said that 2025 was going to be the year of lawsuits for AI. And it's not just that. There's artists who you can now get like DALL-E or any one of them, right? Art Guru, all that. You can get them to create something. You could say like any one of the famous artists. And a lot of guys are saying, now wait a minute, like these artists are coming out and going, wait a minute. It took me like years to get where I am, like what my style is. Like people look at that and go, oh, that's so and so. He goes, and now you could do this. No, so they're suing the shit out of him. I think they have the right to. Yeah, but yeah, top music attorney.
Did you know that when John Fogerty left Creedence Clearwater Revival,
right,
he recorded a solo album and he was sued for, get this, sounding too much like himself.
Like himself. Yeah, like himself. Yeah. I'm sure. The music industry, like, what they just did? There's a guy, a professor of rock. Are you guys familiar with him? Special K, are you familiar with Professor of Rock? I think he's got a hell of a channel where he does the best countdowns and all that, but it's really good because he gives you the history and he gets like guys in the band to come up and interview with him, right? They just screwed him royally. I watched, he did a live stream. Never seen him do a live stream before, but I watched him do a live stream. And and he pointed out, he said, because see, YouTube, we love our YouTube overlords, but YouTube has a really shitty way of dealing with this. If you play, the reason why you get hit with these copyrights is not because the owner of the copyright complains. It's because some lawyer schmuck is able to come in and say, well, I'm going to file a copyright claim on behalf of that owner of the copyright, and then I'll just keep a percentage of what I get for them. And YouTube allows that. I don't think they should, but it's their company. It's not mine, but they do that, and they're screwing with a lot of people, which is why I had to put down in my description that RPW Media is a DBA of Jabberhouse Media LLC, because I own all the music on that. I own it. And I don't want to play my own music and have them give me a copyright hit, But let me see if I can find her. The hell's her name? Darkness? No. No, fat man. Let me see. While I'm looking, I'm gonna let's see. We get another. Let's do this one. We'll play while I'm looking.
Since we're talking about it, what about the story on OpenAI?
Which one?
It's 7 up from the bottom. OpenAI unveils
feature that control your computer. Oh yeah. That's, you know what? They don't say it in this article. All right, let me point that out. Yeah, we'll go into that one, then I'll look for the other. And this is important too, because I just started a class for this. All right. So it says OpenAI unveils an agent feature that can control your computer and perform tasks automatically. What it's called is agentive Thank you. Agentic AI. And what it does is it creates agents, which is just like a little bot that can do a specific thing on your computer, or it could do things with data and whatnot. But you could have like 50 of these things all talking to each other at the same time. And it is kind of cool because there's a lot of things it can do that you can't possibly do. And you can't write like software, other types of software, the way it's written today, that will do what these do. So it is pretty cool. So OpenAI is preparing to launch a new feature that may mark the latest leap forward in artificial intelligence revolution. On Thursday, the company unveiled ChatGPT Agent, a tool designed to carry out tasks independently using its own built-in virtual computer. Right. So The Verge had more details. In a briefing and demo with The Verge, Yash Kumar and Isa Fulford, product lead and research lead on ChatGPT Agent, respectively, said it's powered by a new model of OpenAI developed specifically for the project. The company said the new tool can perform tasks like looking at a user's calendar to brief them on upcoming client meetings, planning, and but you guys know that all this nice, cool shit that it can do, you got your hacker guys that can use it to do all kinds of nefarious things as well. But you can also write agents that will block that. Like when I got into blockchain, right? Writing a blockchain, I wrote one actually using JavaScript. You can using JavaScript, right? So I did that, and then I got an idea. What if I wrote a firewall application using blockchain that no one could get through. Nothing can get through without knowing the specific code that will let you in, right? And everybody has their own, it'll create its own blockchain when you install it on your PC, your own blockchain. So you can't have like a code that'll work on anybody else's, right? And then I found out that Microsoft already did something like that and nobody liked it. It was called Palladium. And Palladium was where it was down on the chip, all right? Because you can't hack the chip. It's in silicone. You can't get in there on that code. So it was down on the chip, the CPU actually, and what it was you had to have a special code in order to install anything on it, right? And that way nobody could steal things. Hackers couldn't get in there, and viruses couldn't get in. And you thought, who wouldn't want that? Well, nobody wanted it because it would have been a pain in the ass. It would have been a total pain in the ass in order to install anything on your PC, and then you have to worry about, well, if I'm running something on the internet and it has to access something in order to use this, like what was the old thing they used to have, Flash, right? You have to access Flash on the PC in order to be able to see that. Well, nobody wanted it, so I said the hell with it. But anyway, yeah. So that's what that OpenAI is. But I still want to find this thing. Let me play one more while I'm doing that. By the time I'm done this, I'll be done. I'm going to play one more version of Eat the Bugs. Here we go. All right.
They sit in their towers, sipping their tea, deciding our fate like it's all a decree. Eat the bugs, mate, it's for the planet's good, but I'm not a cow, and this ain't my food.
Actually, I played that one. I'm so sorry. I think I found the girl. I think I got this one here. I didn't play this one. All right, let's do this. All right. Here we go.
In the corner shop, they're selling lies, packaged up, a clever disguise. Crunchy critters in a plastic tray, but I ain't biting, not today. They tell me it's progress, they tell me it's fine, but I see the cracks in their assembly line. No bugs for tea, no bugs for tea. You can't make me swallow what I can't believe. No bugs for tea, no bugs for tea. Keep your creepy crawlies far away from me. The telly hums with a shiny face, preaching protein, saving space. But my gut says no, my gut's not sold. I'll take my steak, you take your mold. A future they're feeding, a future so strange, but I'm not a puppet for their dietary change. No bugs for tea, no bugs for tea. You can't make me swallow what I can't believe. No bugs for tea, no bugs for tea. Keep your creepy crawlies far away from me. Ooh, ooh. Keep your creepy crawlies far away from me. Ooh, ooh. Keep your creepy crawlies far away from me.
So, 42. Do I have your permission to play yours? Because, guys, this is the one that started it all. And you're going to have to brace. Everybody knows what I mean by that. Because I could play yours. Let me see. Here we go. Let me bring it up anyway. Oh, absolutely. Thank you, sir. I really appreciate that. All right, let me get back here. Let's go here. Here we go, guys. Ready? Brace.
Hello, this is 42 speaking. Welcome to the Resistance. Oh shit, man. Eat the bugs? You got me wrong. You got me so wrong. You ever seen a cave drawing of somebody with a spear hunting a mosquito? Well, me either. We eat meat and we have choices. You think the hedgehog, right? It tastes like chicken. Fucking chicken. I ain't eating your bugs. I ain't eating your bugs.
They really pushed this on them over there.
I started off with nothing and I'm never going back. I'm not getting on your progressive track. With Agenda 2030, I refuse to engage. I can see where it is going and it's just another cage. I've got hedgehog, I've got rabbit, I've got wild hog. Fuck it. I can
Probably not
go
watching
to Alaska and get me a nice car, buddy.
Oh boy, oh boy. That's not the brace part yet.
Fuck it. I'm not eating your bugs. You're trying to take away what I fought so hard to get, so I'm going to say no to your cattle contract. Eat the bugs? Live in some communal pod with no fucking privacy? Oh, nothing and be happy. I've seen the people with nothing and they don't look happy. Eat the bugs? Live in some communal pod with no fucking privacy? Oh, nothing and be happy? I'm not eating your bugs. Fuck it. Fuck it. I'm not eating your bugs. Fuck it.
Oh, here it is. Brace, guys. Brace. Oh, look.
I'm not eating your bugs.
Look away. Look away.
Fuck it.
Wait for it right here. Oh, no.
Oh shit, man. You got me wrong. You got me so fucking wrong. There are millions of us in the UK, billions worldwide, unvaccinated, striding out into our third winter of death with not a care in the world.
Yum.
Eating pig, eating cow, eating chicken, and we will not conform. Fuck it. I'm not eating your bugs. Hey, Klaus Schwab, this is 42, and I want the word with you. Motherfucker.
This is the fourth industrial revolution. We have an opportunity for the great reset. Technology is a critical weapon. History is truly at a turning point. We can shape a better world, and we will reglobalize to make it a better place.
Over the territory. Didn't care.
And so will live, and so will eat the bugs. You haven't got me talking. Why'd you
Climate
make
change.
in charge of Stonehenge? Keeping me away from the stones? That's not world heritage, that's British heritage. You're getting to a point where the people just want to be left alone going to get involved. Tell me again, why is the United Nations running Stonehenge? Fuck it. Stonehenge, New grains of fucking paramount and range now owned by UNESCO, so you and I can never go. Fuck your 15-minute cities and your Internet of Things. We are going back to nature, see what that life brings. We had a good look at the farming we did, so we hook up with the Woodlander and take our shit off grid. Fuck it. We hook up with the Woodlander and take our shit off grid. Fuck it. We hook up with the Woodlander and take our shit off grid.
Net zero, yeah. And we had net neutrality here too. It's all bullshit.
This is 42 speaking. Welcome to the Resistance. Fuck it.
And that, my friends, was the beginning of all of this. You gotta love it, man. Oh, you gotta love it. Those bots are in place in Moscow.
That hasn't changed my thoughts on eating bugs.
Yeah.
I'm told that eating bugs is a good source of high quality protein, and I will eat the bugs.
Yeah.
And I let me finish. I will eat the bugs when I absolutely have to not starve.
Yeah. No offense to you, 42. Yeah, that was what started it all. And when I was in 42's stream the one time, I had never seen it yet. And they all everybody in the chat was like, brace. And they're like, Rich, you better brace. And I'm like, I thought like this guy was busting my balls or something, like brace. I'm like, what why is he saying that? Right. And then they're like, all right, now brace. And I'm like, I'm watching. I'm like, oh no, they were warning me. It was pretty funny.
Can't say they didn't tell you.
Bobbity, how you feeling, man? You feeling any better? Hopefully you are. Yeah, none taken. It's an acquired taste. He's right. Yeah, she says, I'll starve. Me too. There's no way I'm eating bugs. I'm sorry. And then they wanted to make it so that in some states they were going to like mix it in with your food, your actual food.
Yep.
Wait a minute. Shouldn't they tell you that in the state legislature?
I guess if you raise mealworms, you can do that. And listen, I'll eat bugs when I need to eat bugs. But
Yeah, I had heard of it, Billy, but on our side we also had net neutrality, which was just as much bullshit, but it was on the internet. It was on trying to get conservatives off the internet is what it was. But it's all the same kind of bullshit. Like climate change. I'm sorry, I just don't see it. Because every single thing that they tell you on climate change, they have no actual proof. It's all in a computer model. I'm a programmer. I can write a computer model to tell you any damn thing I want it to.
And the thing about climate change that people fail to point out that we know is true is that the Earth has been both much cooler and much warmer than it is today in the past.
Oh, I know. Linda writes, "Oh, are you sick, bro? Did you eat a bug?" Like blood tongue. What is it? Like blood, tongue, and head cheese. Oh, jeez. Yeah, they put bugs in cosmetics. Now I'm going to blow all your minds. You know how jelly beans are shiny? Do you know how they get shiny? What they use? Beetle shit. There's a beetle in Indonesia, and they raise them, and they take it, and they use it to make the shine on jelly beans. I bet you never eat another jelly bean now. You're welcome, because you were eating poop from a beetle. Like, don't. I'm like, damn, Reagan loved jelly beans. Oh, no.
You just ruined jelly beans for me, man.
I know, man. I know. Yeah. Let me see. Anybody not have the same weather that had as a child? Thought not. Yeah, it's true. It's true. But you know what? There's a guy, I think he's a Brit. Dr. Vernon Jordan, I think his name is. Yeah, he wrote like a gazillion books, but the one he wrote, it was called The Plan or something, but he gives the exact history of climate change from the very beginning. The group of Rome or something. It was a UN group of Marxists that wanted to take over the world, and the one thing they came up with was global warming, because if they thought, if we can convince people that they're the reason, that they are the reason why the world's going to end, we can force them to do things, and we can take them over, and we can get their money. That's what they did. But he takes you all the way through the entire thing. I don't know if it was called that, but it was a group. It was like, any other political group, but they were part of the UN, like a faction in the UN, and he points out that they're the ones that came up with it. And the first thing that they used to test it in modern times, what do you think it was? The first thing, Jade, what do you think it was? It was, let me put it this way. It was a program that throughout the United States, they did it, and they forced people to do it. But the reason they forced people to do it is because they wanted to know that when they stopped forcing them to do it, would they still do it? It was all mind control stuff. It was recycling. There's no reason to recycle, none whatsoever. And yet,
well, I would half disagree.
No,
apparently paper and metals recycle well, and they do that. Plastics, not so much.
Yeah, but they already had the technology to separate it at the processing plant. That's why they call it a processing plant. They already had the technology. They didn't have to do it. They did this because they wanted you to think, well, I'm helping the earth, I'm helping the planet by doing this, so I'm going to do it. And then when they did in some jurisdictions across the country at the same time, they pulled it and said, you don't have to do it anymore. But the people still recycled, thinking it was the right thing to do. In other words, they brainwashed them. They got them to think that you have to do this, otherwise you're going to destroy the earth. And it was literally a UN communist thing that they like, they didn't go up and say, hey, I'm a communist, we want you to do this in your country. No, they're very clever people. And so they got them to do it through the guise of like socialist light. Well, we really want to protect the planet, so why don't we do this? And that's what they did. And ever since, every little program they want to be able to get your tax dollars for, they use the same type of bullshit. So they made you think that if you were causing the catastrophe, well, you would be willing to pay extra money in taxes for that.
Well, it goes deeper than that. Like I say, I half disagree, because paper and metal certainly recycle well, but the interesting, take that idea a little further. Why do you think soldiers are taught to shine their boots?
No idea. I guess when you shine it,
why do you think soldiers are taught to have all their clothes in the exact same order and the exact same position?
Well, they're conditioning them. Why do you think they shave their heads at the beginning of boot?
The short answer is, if you follow the small things, you'll follow the big things, because a soldier could get into a situation where they have to take a command that is going to get half of their group killed.
You got it.
And so they have to be well, willing to do that. And willing is not quite the word, because you've been brought there by your basic training.
Right.
And but that's what you need in a soldier. That's why nobody likes 40-year-old recruits. Everybody wants an 18-year-old recruit. Why?
Right.
You can mold them. You can give them these values.
Yep.
You give them the values that the unit is important, and you got to take care of your buddy. And, most of the values are good, but basically it's training you to be able to run into a situation in which you're unlikely to walk out of, but you will do it because you took that order.
Well, here you go. In the book's it's by Vernon Jordan, Dr. Vernon Jordan, and it's called Endgame: The Hidden Agenda 21. Okay, and it was the Club of Rome in 1968, and it still exists today. Okay, but it was the Club of Rome. Let me see what he says about it. I have it right here. It's the next big step forward was the formation of the Club of Rome in 1968. Today, the Club of Rome consists among others, of a variety of UN administrators, top politicians, rich businessmen, and government officials. I'll come back to the Club of Rome in a moment, but he does, and he says that they're the ones that started pushing for an idea that the Marxists could take over the world, because they were always a global thing, but it was the Club of Rome.
Well, that's a whole interesting discussion in itself. But you know what time it is?
Yeah, your ass is giving your alarm off.
Yeah, and you still haven't made me a video for that.
Yeah, well, I tried, and you know what? AI. Here's what I was trying to do, guys. I was trying to create like an alarm clock, right? And it was personified, so it was going to be like have eyes and arms, and it was going to ring and ring and ring, and its ass was going to shake back and forth, and it was going to be red because it hurts. But AI doesn't like that, and so the best I had was one that was shaking like this, and I'm like, oh, I can't do that. No matter
just
what.
Tell it to make twerking. Just say it, make it twerk.
Yeah. Well, I did that, and it did twerk, but it never showed its butt. I even told it to, and it didn't. It wouldn't. It twerked, but it did it this way, so you couldn't see. You know, it just wouldn't do it for some weird reason. It wouldn't do it. I did that on Sora.
Anyway, gentle people.
How many do we have in? Let me see.
I think we got 23 now.
Fresh. Yeah, guys, if you haven't already, please hit the like button. 25. Yeah, cool. Good for you guys. Yeah.
I hope you guys
we don't have
had
a Dr. Jade moment. Do you want to do it? Do you have a Dr. Jade moment?
I gave you that one story, but I don't have one. Linda, I'll come up with one for next week.
Which one? What story?
No, I gave you the California illegal.
Yeah, we already did it.
We did that.
All right. You got to come up with a Dr. Jade moment every week. That's your only homework.
All right. Yeah. I got to find one. Okay.
Yeah. Awesome.
I'm sorry. I missed this week. I did it last couple of weeks. I did one. I'll make it.
Shaking is okay. Yeah. All right, everyone. Thank you very much for being here. Love you all. 42. If I'm free tomorrow night, I might watch you. But I don't think I'm free. So definitely not. Actually,
he's not free,
I got something I got to do, which I've been wanting to do for like 2 months now. But,
so, Rich, you're not free, but you're affordable, right?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, it's like I'm cheap, but I'm not easy. Hey, what's up, Gina? How you doing?
I thought it was the other way around. You're easy, but not cheap.
Yeah, thanks, brother. Yeah, I'm sorry, man. I even set an alarm. Honest to goodness, I did. 42 starting in 10 minutes, and then I'm never here for it because I'm always doing something Saturday nights. Yeah, so I apologize. All right, everybody, thank you all for being here. Love you all. Much love to you, Chris. Yeah, dude, we got to call. We got to call each other one of these nights because I want to talk to you about your channel, all right? Seriously, man. I forget. I'm sorry. I'm doing like 10,000 things. Thank you, Linda. Love you guys.
Everybody have a great week.
Let me cry out for your mom. There you go. You do. Yeah. Everybody, hey, see you later. See you guys. All right. We're gonna end it now. Bring friends next week. We say that every week, but bring your friends next week, or at least tell your friends about it. Let them decide. All right, I'll see you guys. Watch my videos, please.